across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
There you are. Good afternoon and welcome to Drive Time right here on Talk. Stand by for 3 thrilling hours of news, views and topical debate. I'm your host, Kevin O'Sullivan, and I'll be with you all the way to 7 o'clock. Get involved. Get it off your chest. Get on the phone and call me on 03444 499 1000, or you can WhatsApp voice note me on the same number, and I promise to play your message out. It is Tuesday, August the 11th. Here's what's coming up. Thrilled, as we all are, that King Andy has vowed to make it easier for us to get out of hard-to-cancel subscriptions. We were rather hoping that our supreme new leader might have something to say about the massive 230-passenger mega dinghy, on board which the migrants who arrived on Sunday will cost British taxpayers a staggering £93 million over the next year alone. Instead of gathering around the ludicrous lie that Labour's plan to stop the boats is working, when is the Prime Minister going to get real about the issue that concerns the people most? 03444 499 1000. That's the migrant crisis, folks, not bus fares or devolution. 03444 499 1000. Talking of lies, Angela Rayner went on the media round this morning giving the firm impression that PC Andrew Harper's killers will now not be freed under the prison early release scheme. In fact, all that has happened is that Burnham has asked Justice Secretary Alex Norris to see if he can find a way of keeping the two scumbags behind bars. Doubtless the hapless Norris will be thrown under the bus if he fails, but here's the truth. As it stands now, the thugs who took PC Harper's young life are still getting out next month. Make no mistake. And Burnham's stonewalling us with soothing propaganda. Isn't that special? 03444 499 1000. In other news, an extraordinary political moment as former Edinburgh MP Joanna Cherry tells Nicola Sturgeon to stop teasing about her sexuality and admit she's a lesbian. There's no suggestion, folks, of course, that she is. Scotland's former First Minister was married to a male thief and has never talked about being gay. But has Ms Sturgeon been hiding a secret? Will she come out now and tell us the truth? 03444 499 1000. Also today, a London theatre proudly presents Romeo and Hamlet, a gay version of Shakespeare's famous romantic play set not in Girona, but in beautiful Croydon. And you're paying for it. Playwright Scott Horgan's debut production was paid for by taxpayer-funded £30,000 Arts Council grant. Brilliant, isn't it? 03444 499 1000. Is that how you want your taxpayer money spent? Let me know. Plus, more migrants are foisted upon another unsuspecting Welsh community as their newly converted village hall is slated for 13 asylum seeker families. This after the government pledged earlier this year that no more new builds will be used to house migrants. Another broken promise as the invasion of illegal foreigners continues to change the face of modern Britain. 03444 499 1000. And we have a government, a Labour government, that just don't care. They don't care. It's obvious, isn't it? Let me know what you think. 03444 499 1000. And finally, the longest number one in history continues to dominate the charts. Sam Fender's Rain Me In has overtaken Ricky Lane's 1953 hit, I Believe, as the most successful song in pop history. After 20 weeks at the top of the charts, what's so special about Fender's enduringly popular ditty? We'll try to find out later. 03444 499 1000. All that and so much more, so don't go anywhere. Stick with me right here, right now on Talk, the home of free speech and common sense. Let's spend Tuesday afternoon together. It being Tuesday, let's go over to my first guest, my special Tuesday guest, Philip Kisley. He's a senior fellow at the New Culture Forum. Welcome, Philip.
Hi, Kev. How you doing? All right.
I'm very, very good. Look, we're going to talk about the mega dinghy in just a little while, but something strange this morning happened on the breakfast show here with Ian Collins here on Talk. He was interviewing the Labour MP, Sam Rushworth. Sam was trying to give excuses about, the plan kind of is working. We are stopping the boats, numbers are down, everything is good. But, you shouldn't really blame us. It's the Tories, it's the Tories, it's the Tories. Well, he's right to blame the Tories. 14 years of Tory mismanagement gave us the migrant crisis and turned it into an Uber crisis. True. Labour have made it even worse, but we mustn't forget this is the Tories' fault. But Labour are making a complete shambles of it, as revealed by this huge mega dinghy with 230 people on board that arrived on Sunday morning, having crossed the Channel from France. That's going to cost us £93 million over the next year. £40,000 per migrant per year is the cost of what these asylum seekers cost us. So Labour MP Sam Rushworth was in full defensive mode, and he had the killer blow to say, don't blame us. It was the Tories. Listen to this.
This boat that's just come across is really shocking and worrying. It's the biggest ever. But you know what? The second biggest ever was in July 2023, when 165 people came on a single boat. Now, who was in charge at the time? Well, Suella Braverman was the Home Secretary. Robert Jenrick was the Immigration Minister. Both of those are now Reform MPs. And Chris Philps was the Crime and Policing Minister at that point. And these are three people who've taken to the media in recent days, making out like there's some magic wand that you can wave at these problems and they just go away. If it were that simple, why did they do nothing when the Reform and Conservative MPs were running our country and were overseeing this crisis at its absolute height?
Well, Philip, that's a powerful argument, isn't it? We're all getting our knickers in a twist about this massive boat that's come across. And Sam Rushworth there, the Labour MP, pointing out that actually 3 years ago, in July 2023, another mega boat turned up with 165 people on, and that's the Tories' fault. That's obviously Robert Jenrick, Suella Braverman, it's their fault, not our fault. Slight problem, that mega boat with 165 migrants on board didn't come in July 2023. It came 2 Fridays ago, 2 weeks ago. Do you think Sam Rushworth is just really, really stupid or a liar?
A bit of both, I would say, with stupid just edging it for me there. I think that was hilarious, wasn't it? I think there are a few things going on here. We have entered a new era here, haven't we? We're going to see many more. My God, what are we going to see? We're going to see inflatable cruise ships before long. I mean, this is how ridiculous. This is how ridiculous it is. In an earlier conversation this week, someone was asking me about DEI and woke, and they were saying, have we achieved peak woke yet? And my response was, my God, no, we're nowhere near it. And I would say the same thing for illegal immigration. No, my God, we're nowhere near it. We've got much more pain. We've got much more, a greater threat to our society coming over the next couple of years. Why? Because we've got Andy Burnham and a Labour government. And why? Because we've got that idiot talking absolute rubbish. So this is, if you have any faith in these people, then you really want your bumps feeling. I think we've got a threat here on so many levels, Kev. I mean, obviously, you've just talked about the economic threat there. And if people are really serious about this, serious about being concerned about this, think about the economics, think about what it's going to cost us, but also think about the societal cost in the short to medium term, and think about the cultural cost in the longer term. Our country is fundamentally changing. We are under fundamental threat, and we cannot afford the luxury of those things. All of these things coalesce. It is extremely concerning, but as we've just seen, as we saw on Ian's show earlier on, we've got idiots in charge. That's the most pressing concern at the moment.
Yeah, who just aren't across the facts. I suspect, I'm with you, I suspect that poor Sam Rushworth maybe is not the sharpest pin in the pack. He's had a little bit of research because he's going on to Ian's show and he's seen, oh, look, 2 years ago this boat came across. No, Sam, 2 weeks ago there wasn't a boat with 165 migrants coming across the channel while the Tories were still in charge. Nice try, Sam, but no cigar. He'll be in trouble, quite rightly so. Let me ask you, I thought this was... by the way, you said that the era of woke is not over, far from it. Well, later in the show... you'll be thrilled to hear that we'll be covering the story of a brand new play at a London theatre. You and I should get down there and watch it, Philip. It's called Romeo and... You're with me so far, aren't you? Romeo and Hamed. It's a gay version of Romeo and Juliet, and it's set not in beautiful Girona but in stunning Croydon, and this is funded by us, by taxpayers, £30,000 Arts Council grant. So we'll be taking our audience on a wonderful trip into Theatreland later to have a quick look at a thorough look at Romeo and Hamed, that much needed revamp of that tired old play Romeo and Juliet. That's
well,
what
it looks as though not only is it a gay version of it, it seems to be a multiracial kind of version of it as well, just by the title.
Yeah.
So it's ticking all the intersectional boxes there, and of course, who's paying for it? We're paying for it.
Yeah.
We're paying for the dinghies. We're paying for the ridiculous.
It's nonsense, isn't it? I mean, you know, good luck to the playwright, but I don't want to give him £30,000 effectively of my money. The blurb for this, the publicity material for this, you'll like this, says that this production, told in relentless lyrical verse, I simply can wait. Listen to this. Plays freely in Shakespeare's sandpit. Who knew the bard had a sandpit?
Oh, again, my past in higher education, my past in woke central, that is, the sandpit is the biggest alarm bell, because that means play. This is about play. We're all going to play here and explore our inner selves and explore our sexuality and pass each other the sick bucket. Yeah. Play sandpits. Oh no, absolute red flag.
Romeo and Hamed. Why? It's Juliet I feel sorry for, left on the shelf so young. By the way, Andy Burnham, wonders never cease, has actually issued a statement in response to the mega boat, the mega dinghy. He has promised to, and I quote, change our tactics to tackle the gangs bringing migrants across the English Channel in small boats, and he added that the government would be relentless in chasing them down. That sounds like Smash the Gangs to me, doesn't it? Really does. We're going round that merry-go-round again.
Well, it really does. Oh, we've got another gimmick, and not only have we got another gimmick, we've got another gimmick from Manchester. So that's the slightly different thing. You know, he's 200 miles, 300 miles away from where he should be, and actually sorting this stuff out. It feels to me as though none of this stuff can be sorted because you are the Labour Party and you fundamentally are amenable to open borders. You actively want multiculturalism. You hate this culture, you hate the country, so you know you're absolutely and utterly the wrong people to be dealing with this.
But he's going down the rabbit hole, the exact rabbit hole that Keir Starmer and indeed Shabana Mahmood have been going down for the last couple of years, saying we're going to catch these people smugglers, we're going to catch them, relentless, chase them down, smash the gangs. We don't care about that. You know, OK, catch a people smuggler. Big deal. Great. Nasty guy. You've got him off the streets. Well done. Put him in prison. But that doesn't solve the migrant crisis. Never mind chasing them down. Never mind smashing the gangs. Stop the bloody boats.
Yeah, it's actually, it's so simple, it's painful, and it makes you want to cry because, you know, it, like I say, there is, all you have to do is stop them coming over, turn them back, deal with France. They are coming from a safe country. They've come halfway around the world to get here. They shouldn't be here. Ultimately, it's down to us. It's down to the British public to put our foot down and get these people out of office. But even when we do that, we have to vote with this in mind. And it isn't just about politics. It's the substrata beneath politics. It's the blob. It's the human rights lawyers. It's all of this ideological structure that wants these people in this country, that wants to punish us, that wants to put us in danger. That's the stuff we're dealing with. So on the one hand, it's actually really simple. But on the other hand, as far as we're concerned, we have to embrace the complexity, if you like, and say, look, well, there's a big job to do here because it's a massive philosophical turnaround. It's a massive ideological change.
It really is. This country needs urgent repairs, and I don't think this government's going to set about making those repairs. Let's go to your former territory. You're an academia survivor. You got out while you were still alive, while you were still sane. Let's talk about Jason Arde, not so much about him. A story has come out that in 2018, while he was a lecturer at the Dreaming Spires of Roehampton University, the student says that his teaching was terrible, that it had no structure. He just came in and waffled. And she's shocked it's taken so long to expose this obvious fraud. She thought so. All the students apparently at Roehampton University thought this guy was a fraud in 2018. Now we know the rest of the story. But when this particular student complained to Jason Arde, then a lecturer, about a low mark she got, he turned round and said that she was guilty of white privilege.
Yeah.
So you've got that to take on board. Meanwhile, the Cambridge professors who appointed this lying loser to become a professor at Jesus College previously wrote a report attacking whiteness in education. And the same esteemed university, Cambridge, has put a trigger warning on Little Red Riding Hood for, and I quote, adult content and violent themes. As The Spectator magazine said this week in an excoriating headline, Cambridge has fallen. It has, hasn't it? It's fallen prey to these woke morons. It is losing its position of excellence, drowning in a sea of political correctness and woeful wokery. It's sad to see. Jason Arde is the epicentre of this syndrome. It's a tragedy.
It is a tragedy, and it really has fallen. It's become a laughing stock. That's the worst thing you can possibly be in academia. You know, you have no integrity. One of the interesting things about this whistleblower, this kid who was talking about his teaching, she said that to begin with, it was kind of quite interesting because, you know, to them as you know, teenagers, he was just blaming everything on white people, and then she said. She said it was kind of quite interesting how we'd just do it. But then she said it dawned on them that there was no content, no evidence, no methodology, no way of putting this stuff together at all. It was just random ramblings of someone who disliked white people and who was just a grifter. So she actually learned something there that was quite interesting, didn't she? She learned that all of this stuff was nonsense because the person who was delivering it was a charlatan Burton. Now, if you kind of map all of that kind of stuff onto Cambridge, they must have known this stuff, because when you work in it's like everything else, you know, when you work in academia, you're constantly getting feedback and student surveys and all of that kind of stuff. Now, they must have known, because students in Cambridge have already been saying how dreadful he was. They must have known that students were massively unhappy with him, and yet they did nothing about it. You know, in this world that we live in, students are customers. Unfortunately, that's one of the problems with education. Students are customers, and the customers were very, very unhappy with the product, and yet they did nothing about it. Why? One, because of the colour of his skin, and two, because he was neurodiverse. Those two things made him untouchable, and those two things make Cambridge a laughing stock.
Yeah, he had a bingo card that ticked every single box, everything. I don't think he was particularly clever at all, but he had a certain cunning. And he knew that these stupid white professors, if he played on the brilliant young black academic card, that they would fall for it. So as we agreed last week, this isn't so much, in my view, a story about a stupid, lying, loser fantasist. That's what this guy is. He's pathetic. It's a story, the scandal is, how Cambridge University fell for it, how publishers fell for it, how everybody fell for this story. Charities, so many institutions fell for Jason Arday's story, not, I think, necessarily because they're all gullible, but because they wanted to believe his story. And therein lies the scandal. We've got to stop this desire to find Jason Arday's, because it's screwing things up and it is killing what should be preeminent in academia, and that is meritocracy.
Yeah, it's evidence-based inquiry as well, and if there's one thing that this DIE nonsense is not, it's evidence-based inquiry. As I've been saying for quite a while now, this is their fantasy DEI narrative, and they desperately wanted a hero to fit this narrative, and by God, he provided one with all his fantasy. Now, this is a kind of building block, isn't it? So he probably started small with Little Lies.
Yeah,
He got away with it, then they obviously grew and grew and grew, and then it became so absurd. What they started was managing this situation in which they knew he was right, because they were managing lies, Kev, a year ago.
Yeah, we heard that Simon and Schuster are publishing his book. Say they're still publishing it. I don't think they should, but they are. It's called Great and Unusual Things. They apparently ruthlessly watered down some of his more extraordinary claims. So, you know, there's been suspicions around this guy, but nobody was brave enough, courageous enough to say so. Philip, excellent to have you on the show. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much. The brilliant Philip Kisley there, Senior Fellow at the New Culture Forum. Next up, we're going to return to the extraordinary story of the mega dinghy. We'll be talking about that after these messages. Stay where you are, back in a moment.
sex spaces on biological sex.
Yeah.
And therefore you cannot have people going into a women's space, which is for women only, who is not a biological woman.
I was wondering whether that interview was conducted on April Fool's Day, because I think it was a new low in the sort of...
A new low for low?
A new low for low, because, I mean, just the absurdity of not being able to ask a very basic question about the monarch of our country.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. We're going to talk about this boat again now. More news coming in, more information to supply to you in just a second. Let's talk, though, to the Deputy Online Editor at The Critic. He's also a Tory councillor in Scotland and at Lower Wensleydale. He is Tom Jones. Hi, Tom.
Hi, how are we doing?
I'm all right. New information about this mega dinghy with 230 people on board. That adds up to £92 million. That's how much that one cargo of people, there they are in that extraordinarily long boat. It's the size of a Boeing 737, holds just as many passengers as an EasyJet flight to your favourite holiday destination. So it's an extraordinary vessel. And the French are saying, Tom, that actually there is no limit to how big these boats can get. So we may soon get even bigger boats. Don't forget, only 2 weeks ago, a boat turned up with 165 on board. That was a record. Now we've got 230. The French say they could get bigger and bigger and bigger, so that doesn't bear thinking about. We're learning now, this has just been revealed, that the boat, this dinghy, was made in China. You won't be shocked to hear, and transported, we think, maybe through Turkey up to Europe and all the way to the northern French coast, and then on to the promised land, Britain, of course. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Andy Burnham has finally broken his silence on this issue. And has promised that the government will. I've only got brief. This literally came out 10 minutes ago. He's promised. I've only got brief quotes. Promised to. This is a quote: change our tactics. And he's added that the government will be relentless in chasing them down. That's, of course, a reference to the people smugglers. What worries me about that, Tom, is that sounds very similar to me to let's smash the gangs. Catching people smugglers, smashing gangs, which we haven't managed to do at all, that doesn't solve the migrant crisis. If you imprisoned every people smuggler today, there will be new people smugglers tomorrow. This is supply and demand. So Andy Burnham appears to be hurtling down the smash the gangs rabbit hole again. That doesn't bode well, does it?
No, I mean, first of all, I think you're completely right about the people smugglers. I'm thinking of that Charlie Munger quote, never talk about anything else when you can talk about incentives. Ultimately, there is a huge amount of money to be made by bringing people to Britain, and that is why people are bringing...
Yeah, and we think, sorry to interrupt, Tom, but we think, while we're in financial mode, that boat will have earned the people smugglers from the fares of everyone on board at least £500,000. So that's one boat earning the people smugglers £500,000. The 165-strong boat a couple of weeks ago, that was around about 300,000. So that would indicate why the French feel that these boats are just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Interestingly, the gangs do really dynamic pricing. So last week, the Telegraph, in an investigation, was offered a channel crossing for about €600, which was €200 cheaper than the week before, because of what had happened with the basically the invasion at Ceuta in Spain. Basically, they thought there was going to be a sudden spike in demand. They wanted to clear people off the beaches to make way for more migrants to come. So they are actually running a really interesting...
Got to clear the space, you know, they need the room, Tom.
I think ultimately, you know, Burnham is carrying down the smash the gangs route. To some extent, that is the only route available to him. For a start,
won't solve the crisis, though, will it? You know,
well, no,
this is, I mean, the migrant crisis is like a lot of crime, in fact, like a lot of commerce. It's all about supply and demand. So as long as there is a demand by migrants to come across the channel to the promised land, Britain, there will be those who will supply that demand. And they're people smugglers. You can imprison every single one operating today. You can put them all behind bars by the end of today. By tomorrow morning, there will be new ones to replace them. So it's a false alley to go down. It's pointless. More emerging from Andy Burnham. He's finally speaking about this problem. He's maintained a kind of relentless silence for the last couple of weeks. He only wants to talk about what he wants to talk about. Well, he's been dragged kicking and screaming into the migrant crisis issue. And this is weird. This is what he's saying now. Andy Burnham has said that middle-class families should play their part by accepting asylum seeker accommodation near their homes. He's turning it into a class issue, you see, Tom. The Prime Minister said he would work to stop only the poorest communities from taking the lion's share of asylum seeker accommodation, some of which has been subject to public protest. He has campaigned against housing asylum seekers in houses of multiple occupation. In his own constituency, Makerfield, he said, "I do believe all parts of the country need to work to play their part. It's a challenging issue. We are working at it. We understand people's concerns." So this is it. Where is the proposal? Where are the ideas to stop this? This is his idea. I know what we'll do. We won't stop the asylum seekers. We won't stop the migrants. We'll just plonk them next to middle-class families as well as working-class families. That, frankly, Tom, that's disgusting. That is disgusting, I think, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is completely disgusting. I think it was disgusting to take people at such a rate that they had to be dumped into lower income areas in the first place. Ultimately, you know, actually from a kind of accelerationist viewpoint, this will be, you know, quite good, because if this is foisted on Middle England, then it will radicalise a huge number of people against migration, even more than radicalised now. But frankly, I think making a class issue of this and almost blaming middle-class people for not doing enough, you know, are the taxes not enough? As you've just said, how much is this boat going to cost?
Yeah.
You know, and that's mostly paid by middle-class taxpayers. People who go out to work, they work really hard, they buy a nice house, they get on in the life, and then suddenly they're going to have these people foisted on them
because they're middle class.
It's as disgusting as doing it to lower class.
It is, yeah. It's classist, it's ludicrous, it's divisive, and disgusting. I want to just bear with me, Tom. I'm going to ask the audience, what do you think about that, folks? If you consider yourself to be middle class, the Prime Minister wants to attack you by putting asylum seekers next door to you. So you bear the burden of this crisis along with working class people. Well, I mean, is it a class issue? What do you think about it? What on earth does this guy think he's saying? Right, you middle class people, you can take them as well. How about a plan to stop the boats, not just foist the migrants on middle class people? Absolutely disgraceful. I mean, Tom, where are his ideas to stop this crisis, to solve this crisis? Because he doesn't have any, does he? All of this is merely accommodation, accommodating an ever-escalating problem. We need new places to put these migrants that we have no plans to stop entering our country illegally. Maybe stop them entering illegally, then you won't have to find places to put them and you won't have to play your class warfare game, Andy. How about that? I mean, this is unbelievable, isn't it?
It is unbelievable. I think ultimately what this is down to is Andy Burnham's actual lack of political knowledge. He doesn't really know. He's shown no interest in the boats crisis at any point. Apart from, he did make some vague noises about sending some Rochdale gang rapists home, but that's about it. Ultimately, he doesn't really have a crisis to this, and politically, he's in a really difficult position because the Labour Party will not allow him, the Parliamentary Labour Party will not allow him to basically rip up the international agreements that keep people here and prevent them being sent home, or the overly generous benefits settlement that people get when they get here. And so therefore, he is reduced to doing this kind of political, as you say, class warfare dance.
It's just it's ridiculous. And by the way, I just got to go in a second, Tom. Great to have you on the show. Always a pleasure. But just to point out, just off the top of my head, there's a place called Piddington in Oxfordshire, which is about to get 1,250 migrants foisted on a huge camp right next door to this classically middle-class village in the middle of the Oxfordshire country. I'm thinking about Crowborough in East Sussex, a beautiful market town in East Sussex with 22,000 mainly middle-class people in it. So he's mischaracterising the fact that only working-class communities get migrants foisted upon them. It's just not true for a start, but playing class warfare games with this, I think, exposes this Prime Minister as a shallow man who has no idea what he's talking about. Absolute disgrace. Tom, fantastic to have you on. Thank you very much. Tom Jones, Deputy Online Editor at The Critic magazine there. I want to hear from you about that. I think that is the most disgusting thing I've heard in a long time. Playing class warfare games with the migrant crisis. Right. Well, middle-class communities, we're going to foist them on you now. We're going to give you a load of asylum seekers. It's rubbish to say no middle-class people are affected by this anyway. But to say, right, you know, it's time we started putting asylum seeker camps right in the middle of Canterbury and Knightsbridge, I mean, it's just pathetic, and it won't solve the problem. He says he's going to hunt down people smugglers relentlessly, just like smash the gangs. That won't solve the crisis, you half-wit. Unbelievable. Right, let's go to a break. We're going to talk about Burnham again afterwards because I think he's playing games again with the prison release scheme, indicating that PC Harper's killers will now be kept behind bars. There is no such mechanism to do that. He's playing with us. He's screwing around with us, I'll tell you. We'll talk about that next. Stay tuned.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back, Samara Gill, ace reporter for Talk, is in the studio. Welcome, Samara.
Hey, Kev, great to be here.
Before we talk, here's a quick voice note from Stuart on the small boats crisis.
If Andy Burnham wants to change tactics, surely what the best thing to do, I could
sort this one out. Get the SAS in. They go in undercover. No one knows they're there. They do it stealth mode. As soon as those boats, those mega boats, because they're quite easy to spot, as soon as they're launched, one of the SAS comes from underneath, tears it apart with a knife or whatever it is, puts a hole in it somewhere, sinks it below the waterline, end off. We don't even have to admit that we did it. Just do that several times and they would stop doing it because it would become uneconomical for them. We've got to do something like that. You've got to stop the boats. That's the way to do it.
I'll tell you what I like about that, Stuart, is at least you're thinking. You're thinking about ways that maybe we could tackle this migrant crisis, try to stop the boats. At least you're thinking. People are thinking. The one person who doesn't seem to be thinking about how perhaps he could stop the boats is the Prime Minister. Shabana Mahmood not far behind him in not thinking how she could stop the boats. Let's stop calling her a really impressive Home Secretary, shall we? She's useless. Everything she touches turns to rubbish. Anyway, Samara's in the...
Yeah, speaking of...
Speaking of rubbish. No, seriously, Samara, just before we get onto the story I want to discuss with you, what is your take on the fact that Andy Burnham has just said that middle-class families should play their part by accepting asylum seeker accommodation near their homes? He said he would he would work to stop only the poorest communities taking the lion's share of asylum seeker accommodation. Well, that's not even true, is it? Piddington, Crowborough,
yes.
A lot of middle-class towns have got their problems with asylum seekers or with migrants nearby. But to turn this issue into a class warfare issue, I think is a disgrace.
Yeah, it really is, honestly. He's coming for the throats of the middle class, something that he really should be relying on to get him past if he wants to call some other election. But he's such an idiot, honestly. I mean, when you look, to be fair, he makes a point about the poorest communities getting put on the front lines of this migration crisis. We did a lot of work last year with the people of, oh my gosh, now it's just left my mind, right near the airport. It was
Hillingdon.
Hillingdon, exactly, sorry. Hillingdon and that area, and they really have been put through the ringer. That is a community that is already completely deprived, and they did have this massive Holiday Inn just put up full of illegal migrants next to them.
They used to go in the pedestrian tunnel under the M4 to the local school and hang around outside terrorising the pupils.
Cherry Tree Lane, yes, I remember it well, and it was terrible.
We both did.
Yes, no, but when you see how that community was so devastated and they've been pushed to the limits, and the worst thing is, because they were already working class, as soon as they would protest, the media would call them far right. Totally just straight off the bat, because they think, oh, these flag-bearing crazies who, you know, have had a couple too many pints and are going and protesting outside a hotel. And it vilified them. But you're right. Then when I went to Crowborough and saw what happened there, and when you put migrants on the doorsteps of these communities, they almost get radicalised overnight. These sort of Lib Dem people.
Yeah, they're not working class in Crowborough,
No, they're not. It's actually a very sort of posh area, but they were not wanting this. And a lot of the people that I spoke to on those protests almost didn't want to be there, but had been pushed into it by the Labour government. And I think Andy doesn't know what he's doing when he says this sort of thing.
Yeah, he's blown it. He's blown it. That's a disgraceful thing to say, to turn this into a class warfare issue. I want to hear from you. I'm going to take calls throughout the show about this. 0344 499 1000. Should the Prime Minister be playing class warfare games with the migrant crisis? I think you know what the answer is, but let's discuss this, because I think it's a disgrace, and I think it exposes our Prime Minister for not even beginning to understand the migrant crisis. This is a guy who's now disappearing down Keir Starmer's rabbit hole, saying, well, chase the people smugglers relentlessly. That's the same as smash the gangs. Even if Starmer had smashed any gangs, it wouldn't have solved the crisis. It wouldn't have stopped the boats. So he hasn't even got that on board, this guy. Honestly, Andy Burnham, raise your game. Get your act together, for God's sake. Let me know what you think, folks. 03444 99 1000. Still with this government. This is what I wanted to talk to you about originally, Samara. Angela Rayner went on the media round this morning.
saw that.
Effectively convincing people that PC Andrew Harper's killers, those two scumbags, will now not be released next month under the early prison release scheme.
She couldn't fully confirm it, though.
But it's not true, though. It's nowhere near true. What has actually happened is that the Prime Minister, and if you look at the statements, that's what it says, the Prime Minister has asked the Justice Secretary, Alex Norris, to look into ways of keeping these two thugs behind bars. That's as far as they've got. There's only one way he can keep them behind bars. They can be kept behind bars. That's this, that just as Andy Burnham did a couple of weeks ago when he said, sex offenders will no longer be released.
Yes.
Resulting in 1,000 fewer prisoners to be released next month. He's going to now have to encompass those who are not exempted. He's going to have to encompass everyone who's inside for manslaughter. He cannot make special examples of these two, because if he does, the government will be inundated with confetti-like lawsuits from other manslaughter prisoners saying, well, you let them two out, you got to let us out too. So this idea that those two scumbags now will now not be released, it's not true. When they're nowhere near being able to keep those guys behind bars. So he's selling us a bit of a fib here.
Yeah, I mean, for the first time in his prime ministership, he's been stuck between a rock and a hard place, and he can't make a decision. I mean, just listening to PC Harper's mother as well in those interviews this morning, Debbie Adlam, she is basically at rock bottom because she's been living in the psychodrama that Andy Burnham has been putting her through, which is 2 weeks ago he promised her that they wouldn't be released. Now then she learnt that they would be released. Now he's saying that he'll do everything in his power to stop them from being released, and she is there saying, I cannot do this anymore. I cannot. Debbie was saying on air on Good Morning Britain, I cannot do this because the way that he has toyed around with this release, promised things and then not delivered, has put me in a terrible way, and he shouldn't be doing that to poor PC Harper's mother, who has been dragged through this again. And honestly, I think it's a real issue here, though, with Andy Burnham, because I was also listening to Angela Rayner tell us that in order to stop this from happening, they're going to release female prisoners. Well, here's the issue with releasing female prisoners in order to clear up some more prison spaces. Female prisoners, yes, there are fewer of them, but there are fewer of them because the ones that do end up in prison are ones who have committed really heinous crimes and really heinous acts. So, is she saying that she's going to release some serial murderers, some extremely, extremely vile, sexual abusers?
That's a nonsense. You can't just release every female prisoner. They're talking rubbish.
But also, they're not. It's not that
they're conning us. They're kicking the can down the road, giving us excuses. After Angela Rayner went round saying, we're definitely not going to, we'll work out a way. We definitely won't release them. Number 10. Said in its briefing today, Andy Burnham, this is a quote, has asked the Justice Secretary to work through further options to keep a greater number of the most serious offenders in prison, including the killers of PC Harper. So there is no firm commitment to release them there. In fact, they can't unless they categorise people who've committed manslaughter in the same bracket sex offenders and say manslaughter offenders can no longer be released. So every single person, either every single manslaughter offender is released or they all stay inside. You can't just throw these two out. So they're playing verbal games with us, folks.
Oh, Kev, wait, though. There's amazing breaking news from Andy Burnham's side. He's actually revealed his Greg's order.
Go on.
2 hours ago.
Yeah, what is it?
So while all this is going on, he's decided to give us his Greg's order, because that's what we really want to hear from him.
Yeah, we really do.
Greg's sausage, bean and cheese melt is what he gets, and it costs £2.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Thanks,
Is
Andy.
that £2 £50, that's the same as a bus fare now, because he's capped the bus fares. He's a great Prime Minister, isn't he?
I mean,
what I wanted to know is what he gets from Greggs for his breakfast.
That's actually the new line.
Come on, Burnham, get real. Do your job. We don't care what you have for breakfast. We don't care about your Smith songs. We don't care about what you call bread rolls. We want you to deal with the migrant crisis. We want you to deal with PC Harper's killers and stop spinning us. Spin Dr. Claptrap, OK? Get real. Big thanks to Samara Gill there, Talk's ace reporter. Next up, Nicola Sturgeon, according to a politician up there in Scotland, has been teasing the public about her sexuality, and Joanna Cherry, former MP for Edinburgh, SNP rebel as well, is saying she should come clean about her sexuality. So we'll talk about that fascinating story next. I wonder if Nicola might come out and tell us the truth about which way she leans. Who knows? That next. Stay tuned.
Sex basis on biological sex, and therefore you cannot have people going into a women's space which is for women only, who is not a biological woman.
I was wondering whether that interview was conducted on April Fool's Day, because I think it was a new low in the sort of...
A new low for low?
A new low for low, because, I mean, just the absurdity of not being able to ask a very basic question about the monarch of our country.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Let's talk about Nicola Sturgeon, the SNP rebel, former MP for Edinburgh, SNP MP for Edinburgh, Joanna Cherry, has accused the former Scottish First Minister, Ms Sturgeon, of flirting and teasing with the public with the idea that she might be a lesbian. I guess what Joanna Cherry, who is a high-flying KC, by the way, she's a barrister, what she's getting at is that potentially Ms Sturgeon, a woman of many secrets, I think you would agree, might be holding another secret, and that is the secret of her sexuality. It's certainly an unusual political issue to discuss with the King of Scotland, our go-to man north of the border, the Sunday Times correspondent up there, John Boothman. Hi, John.
Hi, Kevin.
Well, what do you make of this one, Joanna Cherry? Why do you think Joanna Cherry has done this?
So where Nicola Sturgeon's began a book tour promoting her paperback version of her autobiography, which came out last year. And you'll remember in that autobiography last year, she said that she had never considered sexuality, including her own, to be binary. Now, Joanna Cherry had an event at the Book Festival in Edinburgh yesterday, and that's where she made these remarks, saying that Nicola was flirting and teasing the public with the idea that she might be a lesbian. She then went on to say that, of course, Nicola was entitled to her privacy, but since Nicola Sturgeon herself had raised this issue, then people were entitled to ask about it.
Yes, Joanna Cherry said, don't worry, Nicola, I'm not obsessed by you. Unlike you, I have a very happy and meaningful career to fall back on, and also, perhaps in contrast to her, I have a very strong and happy relationship with my girlfriend, and I am open about my sexuality and have been for a very long time. Now, I have no idea what Nicola Sturgeon's sexuality is, but Ms Cherry is quite clearly saying that the former Scots First Minister is a secret lesbian.
I think it's fair to say that she's, since she's raised the issue, then, you know, Nicola should come clean, as you said earlier, about the issue. On the obsession point, which is also an interesting point, Sturgeon last week in the same event accused J.K. Rowling, no less, and Joanna Cherry of being obsessed by her. I think, you know, a number of commentators have made the point that the only person who seems obsessed by Nicola Sturgeon is Nicola Sturgeon herself. Right? But,
you're right about that.
But that having been said, she then went on to criticise Joanna Cherry, who's just brought out a book earlier this year herself, and described the contents of the book, although she hasn't read the book, as, well, a four-letter word beginning with H that we don't usually use on tea time telly or radio.
I mean, the thing about Nicola Sturgeon is, here she is, what is she now, 2 years out of politics at least, if not more? And she still acts like a politician, doesn't she? You know, she's very guarded in what she says. She is careful about her statements, as if, you know, she's still worried about her political career. I think she finds it difficult to break out of that. She doesn't confide in the public at all, does she? I would say in her defence, you know, if people are suggesting she might be gay, she might be a lesbian, let's not forget she was married to a heterosexual thief called Peter Murrell, so that's one thing in her favour, isn't it?
Look, she's got a book to sell, right? And that's kind of where she is. I mean, lots of politicians, when they give up office, Kevin, this would be my observation, sometimes think that even after they've long gone, the public are sort of entitled to hear what they've got to say about everything. I think the difficulty now that Nicola Sturgeon has, particularly in the wake of her husband's, basically conviction for embezzlement and 5-year jail term, is that a lot of people are starting to question Nicola Sturgeon on the things she said about that. They're also starting to question her about her record. They're also trying to question her about her treatment of other people, including Alex Salmond.
Yes.
And even given her remarks last week about John Swinney, the current First Minister, there was never anybody more loyal to Nicola Sturgeon than John Swinney. She basically said that Swinney conducted a poor election, that the SNP had run out of ideas. Her stock in the SNP, as well as with the general public, has really gone down.
Yeah, Swinney had to deal with the ideas that she foisted upon the SNP, turning it from an impressive valid party pursuing independence for the great nation of Scotland into some sort of bastion of woeful wokery, putting blokes in women's prisons and that kind of claptrap. She's the one who's ruined the SNP, not John Swinney. And I think she squirms about that. But this new line about her sexuality, I predict that might make a few column inches in the papers over the weeks and months to come. John, great to talk to you as always. A pleasure. John Boothman, the great political correspondent of the Sunday Times there. Raki Basin next, so stay tuned.
across the UK. On DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Well, the bad news is Rekib Asen, the policy analyst, excellent guest, he pulled out with about 30 seconds to go. So that left us a big hole in the show. The good news is I've got Samara Gill back. Hi, Samara.
Hello.
Haven't seen you for minutes.
Yeah, long time no see, Kev, and audience.
Well, look, let's resume the discussion we were having, because it's striking a chord. My switchboard is on fire. I'm getting, you know, for example, Dan from Suffolk has said, hi, Kev, is Alistair Campbell back in Labour?
Well.
We are getting Blair-era levels of spin. We are.
That's a really good point, actually.
So what Burnham is doing here with this outrageous... I mean, you know, have you ever heard anyone say that before? The problem with the migrant crisis is they keep putting too many asylum seekers next to working-class communities. Have you ever heard anyone say that? I haven't. You know, there's quite a fair few middle-class communities have been hit too. Admittedly, probably more working-class communities, but to start turning this into a class issue, he's just playing to his own crowd, isn't he? He's playing to the left-wing backbenchers, and he's playing to dyed-in-the-wall Labour supporters saying, hey-ho, don't worry about the migrant crisis. I'm not going to solve it. I'm going to take these asylum seekers and I'm going to plonk them in the middle of Burnham Beaches and Beaconsfield and loads and loads of middle-class towns. That'll sort it out. They'll all love that, won't they? But it doesn't solve the crisis. It just plays a game with it.
No, of course. I mean, it's like putting a Band-Aid over a bullet hole at this point. I mean, we've got mega dinghies, as you've covered extensively, landing on our beaches. Day by day, they get bigger and bigger, and he's not doing anything about it. Within this same interview, he has addressed migration. It's just come in, where he said that Labour can't commit to stopping the small boat crisis by 2029. That's what he's just told a rival station. So that's interesting.
He's also said that they would hunt down people smugglers relentlessly. Well,
yes.
That's just smash the gangs.
That's just tosh.
With, you know, a different spin.
Yes.
That is just smash the gangs. Well, A, they never smashed any gangs. B, there's been a few people smugglers over the last couple of years who've found themselves in the dock, but not many. But it has been established that by convicting these people, putting them in jail, does nothing whatsoever to stop the boats. Because, as I keep saying, we could put every single people smuggler operating today in jail tonight, and by tomorrow morning there will be new people smugglers, because this is supply and demand.
Exactly. And also, talk about demand. I mean, why, you know, talk about incentives. So these asylum seekers, they're already coming across, they're already being promised hotels, etc. Now they're going to be promised to be plonked into middle-class neighbourhoods where, dare I say it, people have worked their entire lives to get up to. You know, people work towards living in some of these areas, put their entire life's work into it, and yet these asylum seekers / illegal migrants can come across on boats and live in those exact same areas as well. There's an element of Burnham's government that has a real hatred for anyone who wants to merely do well, upskill, try and move out of their hometown, try to go to university, try to do anything better. There is an element that he just...
No, I tell you what he wants. He wants working class people to know their place and live in council houses like they used to.
Yes, where he can control them.
Yeah, he wants them to have no ambition to own their own properties. He wants them to all work in factories. You know, he wants them to get apprenticeships like working class people used to. There is something really depressing about his old school 1970s style socialist outlook. You know your place, lad. No universities for you. You go out and get yourself an apprenticeship and work in the factory. You don't need to buy a house because you can have a council house for 12 quid a week. It's so depressing. Let's listen to a voice note. This is Carl on migrants.
can't believe what I just heard, Andy Burnham, saying that middle-class England should take more HMOs and more migrants. What's he talking about? We need to be getting rid of them, not accepting that we've got to have them in our towns and our communities. They're already putting hundreds and hundreds of migrants in middle-class rural England anyway, in these changing villages by moving 1,500 people into a village of 600. They're middle class. We're all paying our taxes. Middle-class Britain are paying taxes. So why should we suddenly start accepting more? No area should be taking more migrants. They need to be deported, not to mention the 1.5 million illegals that are already here that need deporting as well. The guy's got no idea whatsoever. He's not going to solve anything. Anybody who thinks that he is deluded.
Why is it people like Carl, you and me, we can see what's wrong here? But there's a great voice note from Carl there. Why can he see what's wrong? And why can he come up with ideas to solve this crisis when our Prime Minister and our Labour government cannot? I mean, Andy Burnham saying, I'm sorry, we can't commit to stopping the boats by 2029. It's 2026.
I know.
So 3 years he can't commit to doing anything about this. That's what's so depressing about this middle class idea. This is just another plan that exposes the reality of what this government thinks about the migrant crisis. It doesn't even begin to sit down and think, how can we solve this? How can we stop the boats? All they're thinking of is, how can we find more places to put the migrants that we're going to keep on letting into the country illegally? We're going to keep allowing to break into the country illegally. We need more accommodation, more and more accommodation. Oh, I know. Let's stick it to the middle classes and put some migrants next to them. Oh, great. That's the extent of this guy's thinking. Honestly, I think Andy Burnham is just a massive empty vessel, don't you?
Absolutely. And people like Carl actually live in the real world, unlike Burnham with his, fantasy land that he tries to occupy. I mean, when you look at how he's actually worded his answer, it shows you how little he thinks about the immigration crisis. He goes, when he was, because this is all kind of stemmed from a conversation about Piddington, which, I mean, obviously is a town of about 500 people that has been burdened with 1,250 illegal migrants, and that's why they're calling out for help. But he dismissed them. He basically said, I don't know the issue in detail yet, but in some ways I kind of understand it. It's about creating a secure space and not have the HMO issues that you were talking about earlier. It's obviously going to be challenging, but I'm prepared to always listen to people, to work with people, to pick up legitimate concerns, and then I will address those concerns. I mean, can you decode this?
I can decode it. It means...
He doesn't care.
He doesn't... he doesn't care. None of this cabinet care. They believe in open borders. They actually, stupid idiots that they are, believe that half or lots of these chancers coming across the channel, nearly all young men, the fashion is to say of military age, I like to say of sexually active age. He has no plans to stop those boats. He just has plans to expand the accommodation of them as more and more of them come in. I've got a good text here from Linda in the lovely seaside town of Deal in Kent. I know it well, Linda. She says, hi Kev, Burnham disgusts me. Why should any of us accept these migrants just because our ridiculous politicians cannot protect our borders? This man is a pathetic narcissist.
I mean, just looking at some renditions, or sorry, some basically local children have just written letters to Prime Minister Andy Burnham. A 7-year-old called Rex Perkin, who lives in Piddington, which is the town that's been engulfed with illegal migrants, he wrote a letter to Andy Burnham saying that he
worries...
Not
yet, they're about to be. They're about to be.
Just about to be, and I'm going to go down there, by the way.
They're fighting
sorry.
I was going to suggest to you went to Piddington. I can introduce you to the
I booked my
main man.
tickets, and I'm going to go down there. I was just reading about it over outside.
Yeah.
But the 7-year-old wrote to Burnham saying he worries that he will no longer be able to visit his sister's grave in the village. This is a 7-year-old we're talking about. Another parent called Gina Phillips said that she hoped for her children's letters would resonate with the Prime Minister as a father. So there are kids that will not now leave their homes after school or will not be able to walk to school because of what Burnham and the Labour government are doing by putting these migrants into this village. And now he's saying that apparently, you know, the working class have been bearing the burden for too long and now it's time for the middle class to share that burden. It's ridiculous.
That's his idea. That doesn't solve the crisis, does it? That doesn't even begin to tackle the crisis. Stop the boats, Andy. Never mind about aiming your class warfare guns on the middle class. What has that got to do with it? I got a text here from Amanda saying, "Dear, oh dear, Andy Burnham is now showing us his complete and utter incompetence. I can see his unpopularity will fall and fall and come sooner than Starmer's." I think she's right. I mean, this guy, he's playing, he's running on empty now.
He is.
He's right.
Honeymoon's over, mate.
He's on the cusp of being discovered. Found out while he's on this stupid listening tour. As Andrew Neil said in the Mail this morning, he shouldn't be on a listening tour. He should be in his office, neck deep in documents that he should be consuming. To work out policies that will improve this country. I don't know, Samara, maybe do something about the national debt, which is now soared over the £3 trillion mark. Do you know it took us from the late 17th century, about 1659, until something like 2010 to build up our first £1 trillion of national debt. So what's that, 300-400 years? Then it took another 10 years to do the next £1 trillion, and this latest £1 trillion, the third of national debt, took 6 years. So we've now got £1 trillion worth, £3 trillion worth of debt. Do you know how much that costs to service? Not to repay, but to service. Do you know how much it costs?
Oh, it's something.
It's £3,488 a second.
Yes, yeah.
A second.
It's something absolutely absurd that we've gotten ourselves into, and unfortunately, under a Burnham government, there seems to be no light at the end of the tunnel because he doesn't want to. First of all, he doesn't want to stray from the mandate that he keeps talking about. That
what mandate? You haven't got one.
No, exactly. He doesn't have one, but he's saying that, you know, I don't think because he's so cosy with his backbenchers, he's going to be doing anything radical to benefit receivers, or he's not going to reform that. He's obviously, I mean, John Healey's going to be left with a very puzzling thing to do at the budget, where he's going to have to fulfil the military budget that he resigned over, but without the money to do that, which is going to be a very interesting sort of set of issues. And yeah, you're right about the mounting debt, but Andy Burnham is way out of his depth.
He is out of his depth. He just wants to talk about smiley things like what he buys at Greg's for his breakfast and Smith's songs and what you call a bread roll. I mean, shut up, mate. We don't care. Why are you doing this? You know, solve the migrant crisis, stop the boats, and stop your deranged devolution that no one wants. Stop wasting money on that nonsense, that vanity project, number 10 North. Stop this stupid tour and start doing your damn job. It's so ridiculous. Folks, I need to hear from you. 03444 991,000. Stay where we are, Samara. We're going to take a call. I'll come back to you after this. This is Laura in Wiltshire. Hi, Laura. Are you middle class by any chance?
I probably am.
Yes, well, in that case...
And I'm not embarrassed.
In that case, well, I admit to being a slightly middle class myself. In that case, Andy Burnham, the Prime Minister, is going to stick a migrant camp right next door to you. What do you think, Laura, of this guy now turning the migrant crisis into a class warfare issue, saying it's high time the middle class started bearing the burden of asylum seeker camps as well as working class communities? What on earth is he talking about?
Well, it doesn't surprise me at all. these socialists, it's all about class warfare. You know, around here they're trying to kill off trail hunting. I mean, you know, I live in a semi-rural place just outside Salisbury. I cannot tell you how different Salisbury looks now. But, you know, part of me thinks he is an absolute idiot. I'm waiting for him to say, have you been missold PPI? That's going to be his next thing. I'm not joking.
Well, you laugh about that, Laura. He actually has announced a policy. You know, while we're worried about the boats, cost of living, law and order, net zero. I mean, he's going around the country, right, saying, oh, cost of living. I want to talk to people about the cost of living. How do we help them? Here's how you can help them, Andy. Stop all this net zero claptrap. Stop all the windmills and the solar panels. Start drilling in the North Sea, start fracking, and then you could reduce our astronomical energy bills to next to nothing. There you go. Cost of living crisis solved.
And Kev, there are so many local things he could do as well, or have someone more junior do it. But it doesn't surprise me. And, you know, weirdly, I think it's a good thing, because I know too many liberal-leaning conservatives who just don't see this as their problem. And I work in the kind of building trade. And I know guys who are living in Salisbury who've got HMOs next door to them, with guys filming their children in their paddling pools.
By the way, sorry to interrupt, Laura, but last time I looked, Salisbury is not a particularly working-class town, is it?
No, but it's got working-class people.
Yeah, well, that goes it. But, you know, they've got migrants, so...
Salisbury.
Yeah,
there are loads. You walk down Fisherton Street in Salisbury on a Friday afternoon, Kev, you'd be blooming amazed. Yeah. It's like, I mean, I don't know where the pop-up mosque is, but anyway, I don't know where it is, but I'm telling you.
You'll get one.
You know, the thing is that so many people I know are, and I'm going to say, middle class, upper middle class around here, and they just see it as a bit grubby to discuss it, because it's not really their problem.
Yeah.
And what makes me pleased is if Andy Burnham's going to do this, good. It might wake up some of these stupid Lib Dem.
Yeah, that's right. I hadn't thought of that, Laura. That's quite a good thought. That let's stick a load of migrants next door to Sir Ed Davey. It might wake him up to the realities of this escalating crisis. Listen, Laura, it's always great to talk to you. Thank you for another excellent call. Laura in Wiltshire. Let's quickly talk to Barry in Norwich. Hello, Barry. What would you like to say about our brilliant new Prime Minister, Andy Burnham?
Well, I'd like to say one thing about Andy Burnham and the government. If you elect a clown, don't be surprised if you get a circus. Yeah?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, by the way, can I just stop you for a second there, Barry? I don't remember electing this clown. He waltzed into number 10 Downing Street unhindered by democracy. That's half of the frustration here. We're being ruled now by a guy we didn't vote for.
I don't think democracy really exists in this country no more, Kevin, to be frank. Yeah. We've seen it time and time again with this government, the previous governments. They just select prime ministers like we go shopping for milk. Yeah. Yeah,
they do.
It's just like a...
Well, isn't he our 7th prime minister in 3 years or something ridiculous?
There was a time when we thought Italy was a clown show for electing too many prime
no, they're
ministers.
laughing at us now. They're laughing.
Yeah.
We've become like a banana republic, an absolutely bizarre mess of a country where, as you say, democracy has been trampled over, particularly by people like Burnham. And we're just serfs. We're just pawns in their political game. We don't get a say in any of this. And now he goes around the country only listening to people who want to talk about the problems that he wants to talk about. I bet if you go up to him now and say, could you stop the boats, he won't listen to that.
Well, this is the thing about these boats or, massive dinghies that are coming across. We need the Navy in the Channel. This needs to be deemed a national security issue. Forget about the ECHR and they might spit their dumb. Forget about it. This country is being overrun and invaded by undocumented males. Which are coming. When you go to book a plane ticket somewhere, they say to you, please avoid these countries, Somalia.
And that's where all our migrants come from,
They import them. They bring them here.
I know. It's bizarre. You know, we're being run by an unelected Prime Minister who doesn't want to talk to us about the issues we really care about. And now he's turned it into a class warfare issue. And also, Barry, you'll be thrilled to know he's just announced in the last hour or so that the Labour government cannot commit to stopping the boats by 2029. It's just going to get worse and worse and worse, Barry, as you quite rightly say. If you get run by a clown, you'll get a circus. Simple as that. Well done, Barry. Thank you. Excellent call, Barry in Norwich. Well, listen, big thanks to Samara for stepping into the breach. She did a great job. Thank you very much. So the brilliant
Pleasure.
Samara Gill, folks. Next up, we are going to talk about theatre. We're going to Theatreland. We're going to see a lovely play. I'm going to introduce you to a lovely play called Romeo and Hamed. It's not Romeo and Juliet, it's a gay version, set not in Girona, but in Croydon, and you're paying for it. £30,000 of Arts Council money, taxpayer funded. We'll talk about that excellent production next. Stay tuned. What's this about you approving of Andy Burnham going on a holiday?
Yes, I do. I've written an article for the newspaper. I think you're wrong. I think Carl Turner's wrong.
Why?
Why? Because people need holidays and we want politicians
15 days? 15 days? What nonsense are you writing in the iPaper?
Do you want to take it?
15, what is he, an oil rig worker? 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off? You don't think he'll come to regret this holiday? Let me tell you, he will.
I'd rather take it now than in October, and I want our politicians to be like normal people taking a holiday in the summer, but we'll get into all of that.
That's absolute rubbish.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Let's talk about this new play, not Romeo and Juliet. It's called Romeo and Hamed. It's on at the Riverside Studio Theatre in Hammersmith in London. It's described as a bold, provocative, queer reimagining of Shakespeare's tragedy from debut writer Scott Horgan. I think Romeo and Juliet isn't one of the tragedies, it's actually one of the romantic plays, but obviously ends sadly. But this is a bold take on Romeo and Juliet that turns it gay. It is based not in beautiful Girona, but in stunning Croydon. And it is a story of plain pleasure, desire and violence. Love as something that leaves its mark. And apparently it is urgent, feral, sexy and unafraid to ask difficult questions. And it plays, I like this bit, it plays freely in Shakespeare's sandpit. Who knew the Bard had a sandpit? Let's talk to Head of Campaigns at Popular Conservatism, Andrew Allison. Welcome, Andrew. Have you got your tickets for Romeo and Hamed yet?
Well, never was there a tale of so much woe than Hamed and his Romeo, of course. But no, I haven't actually. No, I haven't booked my tickets yet. I think I'm busy that week. In fact, it's Reform Conference that week, so I'll be attending that. Sadly, I can't go.
Well, there you are. So you can go to that tragedy. But yeah, I mean, the thing about this play is it's written by a guy called Scott Horgan. He's a new playwright. This is his debut production. So well done, Scott. That's good. And I suppose we should encourage young talent and all that. But this is paid for by £30,000 of Arts Council money. That's taxpayers' money. I mean, is this really what we want our taxpayers' money to be spent on? A production. This play is told. This is probably the most frightening aspect of all. It is told in relentless lyrical verse. Oh my God! And apparently, Romeo and Hamed is urgent, feral, sexy, and unafraid to ask difficult questions. My difficult question to the Riverside studio would be, why don't you just do Romeo and Juliet? Over the years, over the centuries, it's proved to be quite a reliable commercial success. Why not have a go at that?
If they had tried Romeo and Juliet, it would have been a commercial success and they wouldn't have needed additional funding. And that's the issue. I mean, the Arts Council says that it supports a range of productions that are popular, effectively, have wide appeal. Well, if it has wide appeal, then why are you funding it? But I suspect here, though, that they said they're going to do a queer version of Romeo and Juliet. So the Arts Council lovies think, well, that's a tick there. And it's going to be called Romeo and Hamed. Well, that's probably another tick. and then Hamed is actually a refugee. So there's another tick there. So it's ticking all their boxes. But the fact is, no, we should not be paying for this. I'm sure that the good people of Hammersmith and surrounding areas in London can put their hands in their pockets and enjoy this production without resorting to taxpayer funding.
The photo that promotes this play is two men, obviously in passionate embrace, fingers in the back of some guy. The Arts Council defended its action. They told us, we support a wide range of artists and organisations to produce work that caters to the broad interests, tastes, voices and experiences of people across the country. Projects can often explore different issues through their work, including social and political subjects. The thing about what I would like to see, Romeo and Hamed, fine. Riverside Studios, well done. Produce it, put it on, and make it pay for itself. You know, if you've got confidence in Romeo and Hamed, put it on. But if we're going to get this kind of play subsidised by 30,000 quid, that, of course, sort of inoculates the theatre from commercial losses. Do you see what I'm saying? I think a play like this should stand on its own two legs, and if there isn't an audience for it, we shouldn't be giving it £30,000 worth of taxpayers' money.
I agree completely, Kevin, and that's my problem with all of this. It should be standing on its own 2 feet, and it may well be popular. It may be a fantastic play, and good luck to the playwright. It is not my cup of tea. I don't live anywhere near Hammersmith anyway, so I wouldn't be making a special journey to go and see it, but good luck to them. But I've known various playwrights over the years, people who are poets and things like that, people I've come across. And they've always relied on taxpayer subsidies to get by. Well, if your work is good enough, it'll stand on its own 2 feet. If it isn't, then perhaps you should be looking for an alternative way of earning a living.
Exactly right. Well, if anybody is interested in going to see Romeo and Hamed, let's be fair to the Riverside Studios. It is on from Wednesday the 2nd of September till Sunday the 6th of September. On the Sunday, there's a matinee performance and another one on the Saturday. So lots of chances to go and see Romeo and Hamed. If any of you do go and see it, please give me a call and let me know how mistaken I am to, shall we say, be slightly mocking about this production. We know what we're talking about here, Andrew, aren't we? They're trying to press the buttons so that people go, oh, that's shocking, shocking, you shouldn't do that to Romeo and Juliet, you shouldn't do that. Well, I think probably you shouldn't, but I don't mind if you do. But pay for yourself. Don't get me to pay for it. That's the essence of it, isn't it?
The thing is, though, Kevin, is that Shakespeare's a little bit like Mozart. You can do all sorts of things with Mozart's music, change it around, all the rest of it, but it never really seems to lose its integrity. And even though you can mess about with Shakespeare plays, because they're so well constructed, it'll probably work quite well. And you can do it. I mean, I personally wouldn't do it to Romeo and Juliet. And I once saw with my wife in Stratford-upon-Avon, it was a Pan-African version of Julius Caesar. And I was thinking, are they going to gun Julius Caesar down? But they did actually keep the stabbing in it. But you know, surprisingly, even though it sounds horrendous, it was actually a rather good performance.
Well, I once saw Hamlet in Japanese. You haven't lived until you've seen that. You know, subtitles underneath films. In the theatre, you have surtitles above the production. So by the end of this sort of 3 hours of unrivalled Japanese drama, I was almost fluent in Japanese. But yeah, Shakespeare is an incredibly adaptable playwright. His plays are works of genius, you know, and it's quite right that people, to an extent, play around with them. But I don't think you need to turn Romeo and Juliet into Romeo and Hamed. I think I might have talked myself into going and see it now. I think I might have to, but I'll let you know what I think, Andrew. Good to have you on the show, as always. Andrew Allison, Head of Campaigns at Popular Conservatism. I say I'm going to see it. I've just remembered. I think I might be on holiday that week. If I'm not, I'm going to book one. Right, shall we go to break? I'm going to take calls after the break because I need to hear from you. What do you think about Andy Burnham suddenly turning the migrant crisis into a class issue? Saying, as far as he's concerned, the important issue here is that too many asylum seeker centres, HMOs, asylum seeker hotels are near working class communities or in working class communities. And he wants to stop that and start putting them into middle class communities. Well, let's put one next to his house, shall we? See how he likes it. And I'm not talking about 10 Downing Street. I want to hear what you think about that. I think that is asinine on an astronomical level. Asinine, fails to understand what the nature of the crisis is. He's also disappearing down Keir Starmer's ludicrous rabbit hole, his rubbish rabbit hole. Smash the gangs. Andy Burnham's now saying that they will pursue the people smugglers relentlessly. Yeah, you do that, Andy. You won't catch many, if any. But you pursue them. You pursue them relentlessly. And you see if that stops the boat. You see if that solves the crisis. He knows it's not going to stop the boats. He knows it's not going to solve the crisis because he just said, he just announced that the Labour government will not commit to stopping the boats by 2029. All it is doing is expanding the accommodation for these migrants that this government intends to carry on allowing breaking into Britain illegally. And then we're going to find them nice places to live, give them 50 quid a week benefits, free food, free lawyers, free dentists, free doctors, free driving lessons, free everything. He's going to carry on doing all that, but he's going to try and make sure that in future migrant camps are next to middle-class houses. That, as I say, don't you think, folks? That's just asinine, shallow, pathetic, typical socialist, fall back. If all else fails, blame the rich, blame the middle classes. Honestly, it's tragic. It's so pathetic, it's tragic. 0344 499 1000. Your call's next. Get on the phone, let's talk. It's good to talk on Talk. See you in a minute.
across the UK. On DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Got a good text here. Going to go to the calls in just a second. But Tony in Enfield has made a very good point. You know, Andy Burnham is growth in every postcode. Yeah, great. So Tony from Enfield points out Burnham won't be getting too much growth in every postcode, and there certainly won't be hope in every heart with this crap idea about the middle classes he's just come up with. That's true. In one breath, growth in every postcode, hope in every heart. Oh, by the way, here's a migrant camp next door to you, because you're middle class. Thanks, Andy. Great stuff. Honestly, it is so pathetic. It's off the scale. It really is. And he's our Prime Minister. Honestly, this Labour lot, have they got anybody who's any good? Or are we just going to get a succession of these utter losers in number 10? Right, let's talk to a new caller. Love a new caller. Jackie in Gravesend. Hi, Jackie. What would you like to say?
Oh, hello, Kev. Well, I just wanted to say, first of all, no one in the UK should have illegal migrants dumped on them.
Very good point.
Yeah. I live in Gravesend, North Kent, and along with all the other poor working class North Kent towns, like Dartford, Chatham, Medway towns, we've all had a damn sight more than our fair share of illegal migrants, and we're sick of it. And a few miles away, in places like, you know, Tunbridge Wells, West,
they don't get any.
They don't get any, and this annoys us. But we think everyone thinks, "Oh, it's the Garden of England."
Kent's the Garden of England. I used to live in Kent. I know about this.
Yeah. I mean, there's lovely parts of it, but there's, you know,
there's parts that aren't so lovely. I mean, what you're getting at, Jackie, and you know, I would say I could name you 2 or 3 middle-class towns and areas that have definitely got asylum seeker problems. But yeah, you're right. I think the majority of camps and hotels are near or in working class communities. So perhaps but this is not getting to the heart of the matter. As you said, your first statement is exactly where it should be at. That is this: no one should have to put up with migrant centres next to them, and this Prime Minister doesn't even begin to have a plan. It's really depressing.
It is. He's an absolute idiot. But the other thing he hasn't thought of, but the reason, there's an economic reason why they dump them on poor areas, is because the accommodation is cheaper.
Yeah.
So if he wants to put them in, you know, the middle of Tunbridge Wells, then and where's he going to get the money for that from? I mean, it's just... it just really is.
Yeah, there's an evil part of me, Jackie, that would quite like to see them set up a sort of a migrant centre in the middle of Mayfair or Knightsbridge. See how all those billionaires liked it, but I don't think it's possible because the property just isn't there. I take your point, but the main thing here, Jackie, though, is this is not a damn class issue. We want them to stop the boats, and he's just said, "Oh, there's no way we can stop the boats before 2029." He has no ambition here. No ambition.
No, the man is he's a mediocre, third-rate sort of rubbish, and he's just and if you look at him, he looks like a rabbit trapped in the headlights.
He's looking increasingly frightened, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he's really going to, you know, cop it, I think, because he thinks that, you know, working class people, if he starts that, he said, oh, this is working class and the professional northerner, and, you know, I mean, it just really
it's so annoying, isn't it?
And you know, the leafy south.
I mean, let me ask you this, Jackie. He was kind enough earlier today to tell us that for his breakfast he likes to go to Greg's to get a roll or a sandwich or something with sausage, egg and bacon in it, or it's a pasty with sausage, egg and bacon in it. Could you give a rat's backside what he has for breakfast? Because I couldn't.
No, I couldn't, and it's all a PR stunt.
Exactly.
Muesli and sort of
that's what he probably that's what he really has, muesli and yogurt. You're right.
Yes, and I think, and they take us for fools. They think working class people are bloody fools, and all he's got to do is this dog whistle, say, "Oh look, I'm going to, the middle class are going to take these people there. That'll keep the
exactly right, exactly right, exactly.
Exactly right. I really think I don't know. I can see trouble. I really can.
I agree with you. I think he's cruising for a bruising. The people are getting more and more frustrated with the Prime Minister, who's just not getting to grips with the issues that concern us. Jackie, that was a great call. Will you promise to call me again?
Yes, I will.
You call any old time. You come on the show. That was excellent. Good to talk to you. Thank you very much. The brilliant Jackie from Gravesend. First time call. Wasn't that excellent? Let's talk to Michael. Another new caller. Man, this is my day. Must be my birthday, but it's not. Michael is a new caller from Grimsby. Hi, Michael. What would you like to say?
Hello. Yeah, I'd just like to make the point that I think myself and everybody that I speak to has the same opinion. Illegal migration should be and could be stopped tomorrow.
How would you do that, Michael?
Well, basically, I'd put them all back on the boat they came in, sail them back across the water, dump them back in France, and tell them, thank you very much, but no thank you. The same as I would say to Mr. Macron. Give us our money back.
Yeah. Can we have our £1 billion back? Yeah. Do you want to know something, Michael? This was shocking yesterday, Sunday morning, right? This is where I thought, man, this money we've given the French for the gendarmes, the French cops to patrol their beaches, £1 billion over the last 3 or 4 years, and they don't do anything. They just watch the migrants leave. Do you know what they watched on Sunday morning? All these guys, these young men, these chancers about to get into a dinghy, and bizarrely, almost randomly, in the middle of this gaggle of about 50 men, young men, obviously Middle Eastern by appearance, one of them is holding this literally newborn baby in swaddling clothes, and they take this baby, this tiny mite, couldn't have been more than a few weeks old, onto this massive migrant boat, and the cops just stood there and watched. Surely the cops at least could have gone in and say, you're not taking that baby on this dangerous crossing. But no, they just took another drag on their gulwar and let the poor kid go. Unbelievable.
Of course, I heard a story about them actually holding a baby over the boat when someone attempted to take the boat back.
Oh, the use of babies, yeah. Oh.
So they were saying, well, basically, if you come near me, I'm going to drop this child into the water.
Dear, oh dear. It's an absolute shambles, and all we've got is a Prime Minister who says he's going to put asylum seeker centres next to middle-class people. He's not tackling what we want him to tackle. We want him to stop the boats. He's just announced, Michael, this morning, that Labour cannot commit to stopping the boats before 2029. In other words, this is going to get worse and worse and worse, and this government's going to do nothing about it. It's really depressing.
As a taxpayer of this country, how many more can we actually take? I mean, the world is full, thousands and thousands of people that are being enticed to this shore.
Yeah, the promised land, yeah.
Not Spain, not Germany, not Belgium, but the UK, because we are the biggest idiots in Europe.
We are the biggest idiots in Europe. Other countries just ignore the ECHR. We treat the ECHR as if it is handing down diktats from God. That boat, that super boat, that mega boat, Michael, that arrived on Sunday morning with 230 passengers on board, 230 migrants. Those passengers, those migrants who arrived on one boat on Sunday morning over the next year alone will cost us, British taxpayers, £92 million, £40,000 each. We are being taken for a massive ride, and the fact we have a government that isn't even trying to solve this crisis is an utter scandal. It really is. Michael, great first call. Don't make it your last. Call me again. That was good. Michael from Grimsby there, I think, expressing the frustration that we're all have been feeling for a long time. Why won't they get to grips with this? What is the matter with them? They could if they wanted to. Donald Trump proved it. If you have resolve and if you have a will, you can stop your migrant crisis. Our government doesn't want to. They don't really believe in sovereign borders, do they? Bunch of lefty socialists. Let me know what you think. 0344 499 1000. Next up, we're going to talk about police wokery and how it cost one excellent copper, a detective, her 23-year career. She got sacked for using hurty words. Unbelievable. We'll talk about that next. What's this about you approving of Andy Burnham going on a holiday?
Yes, I do. I've written an article for the newspaper. I think you're wrong. I think Carl Turner's wrong.
Why?
Why? Because people need holidays and we want politicians
15 days? 15 days. What nonsense are you writing in the eye?
Do you want to take it?
What is he, an oil rig worker? 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off? You don't think he'll come to regret this holiday? Let me tell you, he will.
I'd rather take it now than in October, and I want our politicians to be like normal people taking a holiday in the summer, but we'll get into all of that.
That's absolute rubbish.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Let's talk about Detective Constable Rachel Fletcher, a former Detective Constable now. She's been sacked after a 23-year career in Northumbria. She was an excellent copper. She brought down a particular prolific paedophile only recently. Now, she refused to strip search biological men claiming to be women, you know, blokes in dresses. She also was reported for using, shall we say, colourful language about men and trans women. In other words, sort of slightly hurty words. Can't quite tell you what the actual thing she said, but she referred to trans women as blokes in frocks. Well, it rhymes with frocks, that's what she said. Anyway, she's been sacked for using inappropriate language. Well, let's bring in my next guest. He's former Met Police Detective Mike Neville. Welcome, Mike.
Good evening, Kevin.
Now, Rachel Fletcher spoke to my colleague Julia Hartley-Brewer on her mid-morning show this morning. Here she is.
Look, this happened. Did this come as a complete shock to you?
Not really. I'd had lots of hostility in response to the work I'd been doing with the Gender Critical Working Group and Police Scene, so it wasn't a great shock.
So explain that. So basically, you're in a police force run by a very, very woke senior chief constable who basically is signed up to all the rainbow stuff, and yes. you were being a bit of a difficult woman, weren't you? Not playing along.
Yes.
Naughty you.
That's it, basically. An uppity woman who wouldn't stop saying, this isn't right, we shouldn't be doing this. How does this impact on our violence against women and girls strategy and, you know, search policy, crime recording, etc. And when I wouldn't back down on receiving lots of sort of tellings off, discipline, hostility on intranet articles, etc. They obviously had to find another way to silence me, and this is the way that they found. But the investigation went on for 2.5 years, so for all that time.
Well, there you have it, Mike. Basically, she's been fired for using sort of inappropriate language. In other words, colourful language around the office. I say, so what? She was apparently reported by some snowflake, telltale male colleague. For that, she's sort of lost her career. She's also been put on a police blacklist for former coppers who are considered now to be a danger to the public. Those coppers on that blacklist include the killer rapist Wayne Cousin and the prolific rapist David Carrick. She's on that same list, a danger to the public, because she didn't use nice words about men in dresses. That's why she's been sacked. It's outrageous. This is wokery gone mad. She has lost her career because she used the wrong words in the office. Come on.
Well, the thing is with Kevin, you've got to look at Northumbria Police. There had to be a High Court ruling about them attending pride parades in uniform, and the Chief Constable was told, look, you cannot have officers engaged in political activities. The next thing which strikes me is there's no common sense here whatsoever. So somebody says some hurty words in the office, somebody gets upset about them. If I was the DCI, you'd have them in the office and say, look, who's offended who here, what's going on, sort it out. But what I think happens is these chief officers, they're almost obsessed. If you look at the Met, it's the same. They think if they throw out loads of officers for these hurty words and this, somehow the public will think, oh, you know, the police, they're really on our side. I trust the police. And the public, you can see in this former detective constable, there's a GoFundMe page, so people have raised about 30 grand for her already, so the public obviously like her. And what they need to do is solve more crime to get trust and confidence in the police. Throwing out officers for saying hurty words is not the way to get trust and confidence. Yes, she said some stupid things about all men being rapists, but if I was the boss, she would have been in my office and given, can we say bollocking? I don't know, maybe we can, but that's what we've
decided you can.
Yeah, that's right.
Thanks for asking first, Mike.
But as the DCI, it's like, you know, life on Mars, I suppose. But I would have got her in and said, look, you're annoying people or whatever else. You're a good, hard-working officer. And do you know what's lost here, Kevin? Most of these CID units have got people on with like 5 and 6 years experience. Here an officer's being lost who's got 23 years service. It's just a waste of all that experience for somebody just to give a telling off and sort it out.
And to prove what a mistake it is to, launch these proceedings which cost this poor woman her career, they had to beg her, cap in hand, to come back to duty to attend a court case because she'd nicked a prolific paedophile who got a long-term prison sentence, something like 20 years. They had to beg her to come back in order to help them prosecute this guy who she'd nicked, she'd investigated and nicked. Now, that she went and did that because it was the right thing to do, but it just exposes the ridiculous nature of this drama. This woman, you know, she's a good copper. By the way, she was also in the dock for saying, apparently, I hate men. And also she said, all men are rapists. She insists that she actually said all rapists are men. But are we now saying that a woman, a female copper, is not allowed to say, I hate men? Because it seems to be the case.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And what she said herself, didn't she, in the interview? It was a 2-year investigation. Now, did the people of Northumbria really want the police spending 2 years investigating somebody saying these daft things? Or do they want them investigating rapes, robberies, thefts, criminal damage, and all the things that affect the people of Northumberland? This is where the police chiefs have got it completely wrong, as I said. And it's not only just the it's the time, it's the money. How many officers, how much money was diverted into this? It's just ridiculous. And here we have it, that somebody's lost their job, the police have lost a very experienced officer.
They really have. Our sympathy to Rachel Fletcher. And this is just another example of the wokery that I say is ruining modern policing. I mean, we're hearing so many horror stories of police incompetence, often triggered by an obsession with wokery, you know, don't offend, don't be racist, don't be Islamophobic. And it's turning into a serious crisis. Incompetence and wokery and mistakes, major mistakes by police forces, are becoming a part of the British way of life. We're almost accepting of them now. What are we going to do about this, Mike?
Well, you need the first thing you need to sort out, if the population wants to change, you've got to change the government, because the Labour Party will be obsessed with all this. The Labour politicians will agree with all this sort of thing. The Conservatives were in power for 14 years and allowed it to go on. So I'm not going to tell people the way to vote, but you have to make your mind up yourself. This disaster has gone on, and we've seen 2 decades of the police being converted into this woke organisation, which is ineffective at targeting and preventing crime. This could all change, but what needs to change is the people at the top. You've got a lot of young people joining who are keen as mustard, and they want to catch criminals, and they're out there on the streets right now facing guns and knives. It is the top people who need to change, and their wokeism, their stupid policies, and as I said, their idea that keep booting out officers for nonsense will somehow improve trust and confidence, rather than getting on with the job they're supposed to do and catching some criminals. So
Rachel Fletcher, I think she's in her early 40s. She's a mother of, she's a young mum. And as she says, she's been placed on a blacklist alongside killers and rapists, cop killers and rapists, Wayne Couzens and David Carrick. For why? As she explains, apparently because she offended a male colleague in the office. This is absurd. We've got to escape from this, but no sign of that at the moment, Mike. But great to talk to you, as always. The brilliant Mike Neville there, former Met Police detective. Let me know what you think about that horror. 03444991000. Labour MP Graham Stringer next after the news. Stay tuned.
It is therefore my honour to declare that the duly elected leader of the Labour Party is Andy Burnham.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks so much. I believe in all of you, and I am confident we can do it. Thank you very much. I have just come from Buckingham Palace, where I have accepted His Majesty the King's invitation to form a government. I know people at home are fed up with politics. I hear you, and I want to be honest with you. We have not been good enough, and we need to be better. We will be.
This man has no mandate whatsoever. He didn't stand on the 2024 general election manifesto. You cannot make the biggest change in British politics in 40 years without a mandate from the British people, and it will be only decent, right and proper to call a general election on that issue and to do it now.
Our 5th Prime Minister in 4 years. Blimey. And, well, look, we want him to succeed. But will this one be any different? Andy Burnham, the new head honcho, the speed this all happened, I know this is a well-trodden debate already, is actually breathtaking. 1 minute he was Mayor of Greater Manchester. What, a month and a bit ago he wasn't even an MP. The next he's holding keys to number 10 without the country ever really having a chance to scrutinise him in a prospective prime ministerial arena. Nothing at all. We really know very little.
I think Burnham has to walk a fine line. I think that's probably what's going on, because if he were to sweep into Downing Street and say, I'm going to change everything, I'm going to fix everything, I'm going to do things completely differently to Starmer, then people would say, hold on, mate, we need a general election in that case, because no one voted for that. No one voted for you to be Prime Minister. You weren't standing in the 2024 general election. We've never seen your manifesto. Who the hell are you? That's what people would be asking.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. In about 20-25 minutes, we are going to try to examine why Sam Fender's hit Rein Me In, that's R-E-I-N, not sure why, but that's what it's spelt like, Rein Me In. That's the longest reigning #1 hit in the pop charts in history. It's been #1 since February, 20 weeks or something. Overtaken the previous record holder, which was a guy called, I think, Ricky Lane, who sang a song called I Believe way back in 1953. Frankie Lane's I Believe, which stayed at the top of the charts for 18 weeks in 1953. So a venerable old record has been broken by Sam Fender's current hit, Rein Me In. That's been at the top of the charts since February, 20 weeks. Why? What's so special about this song? We'll try and work it out. I've listened to it. It's a nice enough song. Doesn't seem to have much of a tune or anything. Bit strange. I wonder why. We'll see if we can work out the secret of the success of that super successful song in about 20-25 minutes. First up, though, let's go through some of the big stories of the day with my next guest. He's the Labour MP for Blackley and Middleton South, Graham Stringer. Welcome, Graham.
Good evening.
Glad I got you on the show, because we have turned our show upside down, because at the beginning of it, which was now a couple of hours ago, the Prime Minister suddenly broke his virtual silence on the #1 issue that concerns the people in this country, the migrant crisis. And what he said was, you know, we hoped he might come up with a plan to stop the boats. He announced earlier that Labour couldn't commit to stopping the boats by 2029, so that's not very encouraging. But now he said that middle-class families should play their part by accepting asylum seeker accommodation near their homes. He said he was determined to stop only the poorest communities from taking the lion's share of asylum seeker accommodation. Now, he said, I do believe all parts of the country need to work to play their part. It's a challenging issue. We're working at it. We understand people's concerns. I don't think he begins to understand people's concerns. And my switchboard is alive with people who are furious that this Prime Minister has chosen to turn the migrant crisis, the asylum seeker problem, into a class warfare issue. Don't you find that slightly strange?
I think it slightly misses the point. I mean, there have been asylum seekers being dispersed for the last 25, 30 years. There was a problem in Kent just after the turn of the last century. And I felt very strongly then that constituencies like mine, which have a lot of poor quality accommodation, where both the price of houses and the rent is not very high, we were getting a disproportionate number of those people. And I asked, and was given at the time, a moratorium for my constituency because it was causing social havoc. But that's not the point of what's happening now, with illegal migrants paying international criminals a great deal of money to come from a safe country, France, where they could have claimed asylum. They arrive here without papers. Presumably they've destroyed them because you can't get about in France without paperwork. So we don't know who's coming. They could be, I'm not saying most of them are, but some of them are clearly criminals. Some of them may be terrorists. And I don't think they should have any right to stay here, having come here from a safe country by paying criminals. I think Andy, as I say, has missed the point. The real point is, it's as the Economist said to the Conservatives, to Margaret Thatcher in the early 80s, you've got a majority in the Commons, now govern. There is clearly a difficult legal and political hurdle to go. But Andy's got a majority of about 150. It's very large. He would get support from other parties. He needs to take difficult decisions by stating as a policy, these people will not be allowed to stay. We will get out of the European Convention of Human Rights, or we will suspend part of it, get out of the Refugee Convention. These are outdated. And these people will not be ever allowed British citizenship or allowed to work. They will be given, we don't want them to starve to death, but they will be given food and rations and be sent somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, it cannot be beyond the wit of man, or beyond the wit of a man called Andy Burnham, to actually get to grips with this crisis. Now, we're told he's in listening mode. Well, I hope he could listen to this. We, the British people, we want more than a government that is clearly only approaching this issue in terms of, let's see if we can find more and more places to put the increasing number of illegal migrants that we mysteriously allow into the country. So it's just an accommodation problem as far as this government's concerned. He's also trolling out, Graham, today, depressingly, the same kind of nonsense that Keir Starmer used to troll out, insofar as he said, oh, yeah, this is a major issue and we will pursue the people smugglers relentlessly. Well, two things about this. It is eerily, uncannily and uncomfortably similar to Smash the Gangs, Keir Starmer's nonsense. The thing about smashing the gangs is, A, he didn't smash any gangs, and B, even if he had, it wouldn't have stopped the boats. So if Andy Burnham is beginning to go down that same rabbit hole, suggesting that the way to solve this crisis is to catch migrant smugglers, people smugglers, he's just wrong. He's just wrong.
Even if he caught all the criminals who are sending these people across the channel now, this is a very profitable business. They would be replaced by somebody else.
Exactly.
And in terms of smashing gangs, you can go into any major city in this country and you will find gangs that, however hard the police forces try, they have not been effective in smashing those gangs. We're not going to smash them operating across the continent, and particularly in France and Belgium and elsewhere. So that's not going to work. I think, to be blunt about it, it is being put into the box of too difficult, which is why I said that the things that have to be done, Andy is the Prime Minister of a government with a huge majority. He either decides that he will change the law and enforce it and stop this happening because people don't want it. It is presenting, as you say, as an accommodation problem. It was a disaster in the hotels. It's a disaster when people come into communities that don't want them and they find what is overall a male population don't integrate, and some of them are threatening to schoolgirls and young women. There isn't a solution down that road, whether it's in middle class or working class areas. The boats need to be stopped.
Yeah, and just not to labour this issue, but, you're right. I mean, And the majority of asylum seekers centres, hotels, etc., HMOs, tend to be in working class areas, more deprived areas, because accommodation tends to be cheaper there. But to suggest that no middle class communities have been burdened with their asylum seeker problems is just not true. I could name you about 3 right now. So I find it depressing that our Prime Minister has endeavoured to turn the asylum seeker issue into a class warfare issue. And a lot of people feel the same. I've got a lot of people phoning in, sending me messages who are stating, I'm working class, but this is not a class issue. They're right, aren't they?
Yes, I mean, it isn't a class issue. I don't think there are many communities in this country who want large numbers of men from very different cultures who've come here unlawfully, paying criminals. They don't want them amongst them, not because they're racists, or they don't like people because of the colour of the skin or the religion. But it is just an unfair and very difficult burden to put on those communities in terms of the pressure on schools, on the health service, on dentists. They don't want them. And in principle, people have come here illegally. I don't think should be given that support. Just on the difference between the richer areas and poorer areas, there is no doubt the poorer areas have had the...
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Completely. They've had the burden of it. You look at a line across the M62 in the north of England and down the M6, and that's where 85–90% of the illegal migrants are.
Yeah, but sure. But there are some middle-class communities who've got their problems as well. I just think it's depressing that he's looking at this through the prism of class warfare. It's not what people want. And it indicates to me he's not really across the crux of the problem here. Let's move on, if you don't mind, Graham. Let's talk about the early prison release scheme. Now, Angela Rayner went on the media round this morning, giving the impression, oh, no, it's all sorted out. We're not going to be releasing PC Andrew Harper's killers, the 2 killers who were inside for manslaughter. Well, meanwhile, Number 10 was briefing that, in fact, all that had happened, and Andy Burnham said, I'm confident we can find a way. Well, Number 10 was briefing journalists saying, well, listen, this is all that's actually happened, is Andy Burnham has asked the Justice Secretary, Alex Norris, to look into ways of finding a way of keeping these 2 tow rags behind bars. Well, there's only one way the government can do it, actually, and that is, just as they did with sex offenders, say that not a single manslaughterer will get out either. They cannot just pick on these 2, because if they say, right, we're exempting the killers of PC Andrew Harper, the government will immediately be inundated with a confetti of lawsuits from the lawyers of other manslaughter prisoners, who will say, well, if you're keeping, you have to let us out. If you let them out, you've got to let my client out as well. So the government's giving the impression, oh, it's very easy, yeah, we'll find a way, yeah, but by September it'll be OK. They're in a world of trouble here unless they say all manslaughterers stay behind bars, just as they did with sex offenders. Then those 2 killers of Andrew Harper are coming out next month.
I think you're right. And I think last time I was on your show, I said something similar when you asked me, why is Andy doing something about it? I said that it's because it's one class of prisoner. I've thought about it a bit harder since then. It might be possible, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, to discriminate in terms of different kinds of manslaughter, whether it is somebody going about their public duties, as this police officer was, that you could say people in prison for manslaughter.
Killing a cop, yeah.
Then you might be able to do that by law. But I think these people should stay in prison. The government is the government, and they need to find a way of ensuring that happens, either by extending the number of places, letting less dangerous people out so they can do, or by finding a legal way that isn't going to be challenged because of the differences in the different cases of manslaughter.
Let's have a quick, if you don't mind, Graham. This is Andy Burnham talking earlier about this issue.
I've heard the depth of concern felt across the country about the potential release of the killers of PC Andrew Harper, and obviously I feel for the family and the anguish that they're going through. What I have done since I came into office is push the system every single day to go further. I've not accepted it's impossible to do more. I believe there is more that can be done.
Well, it's quite easy, isn't it? Just don't let them out. I reckon the government should, if all else fails, leave those two scumbags inside and see what happens. I mean, because the public and poor PC Harper's widow, his distraught mother, they're not going to put up with this. The Police Federation in Thames Valley are seething. They got up a petition, started 3 days ago. They kind of launched it on this show. Within 3 days, got 1 million signatures. This is a really hot issue. And I'm afraid Mr. Burnham is going to have to come up with something a little bit better than that verbiage we just heard just then.
Andy's not had a bad 3 weeks or however long it is, 4 weeks, since he's been Prime Minister. People like him. He talks.
He's a good communicator, yeah.
Yeah, he talks like the rest of us. And he doesn't like to talk like a robot. He empathises, he understands, he likes people, basically. But now is the time he's going to have to make some really tough decisions, whether it's on illegal immigrants, whether it's on who's let out of prison and how quickly more prison places can be created. And then there's the other usual ones, the budget, which is the biggest issue coming up on the 28th of October. There's the future of the health service and the benefit system. And he will be made or not by whether he makes tough decisions, not just any tough decisions, but the right tough decisions that may make him unpopular in the short term. But people like school children will play and have a good time if the teacher's useless. But they expect the teacher to keep discipline. People expect the Prime Minister to take tough decisions on the interests of this country. And if he doesn't, he may avoid immediately severe unpopularity. But in the time of 2-3 years, in the run-up to the next general election, if things haven't improved, he will be in greater difficulties than if he doesn't take the tough decision. People respect real leadership when it's explained to them. They may not like it, they might say, I'm not having that, I'm not voting for you now, but they respect it. And usually they come around. Margaret Thatcher was extraordinarily unpopular, and with me she was, but many people who didn't like her personally respected her because she took tough decisions and presented as a leader who they may not have liked personally, they may not have, but she took decisions and she believed in them.
Yeah, exactly right. He's going to have to accept that in his job he's going to have to make decisions that won't make him popular. I think he's rather too keen on being popular at the moment. The job of Prime Minister is about a lot more than that. And what you're saying about Margaret Thatcher there, Graham, don't give Andy Burnham any ideas, otherwise before we know where we are, he'll be invading the Falklands to get popular. Listen, this is an interesting one. I want to get you on this final issue, Graham. Jess Phillips, who was at the time, I think, safeguarding minister, so her presence was required in the chamber in the House of Commons for Home Office questions. She's done an interview with someone called Ian Dale. Never heard of him, no, he's on LBC. He's up in Edinburgh doing his Fringe show. He interviews people up there, he does it every year. So Jess Phillips was interviewed by Ian Dale. And she said that at the time, Peter Mandelson hadn't yet been sacked, and we were in this indeterminate week, as she put it, where the Prime Minister was giving Mandelson his full confidence. So that week was Home Office questions, and Jess said she couldn't bring herself to go to those questions because she couldn't bring herself to say that she backed Mandelson and that Mandelson was good at his job. So she called in sick. Now, I don't think politicians should be doing that sort of thing. I mean, this cuts to the heart of the problem of Westminster politics, is that just revealing there that we have a body of people who quite often have to stand up and support people they don't support and say things they don't believe. Instead of doing that, Jess Phillips took the day off sick, pulled a sickie. That's Westminster's problem, isn't it? It's got no provisions for honesty.
Boris Johnson, when he had a difficult decision to make about the third runway at Heathrow, scarpered off to Afghanistan, if you remember, which was, in a sense, no different from Jess. She's being honest about it now. Ministers are paid to stand up and be accountable to the House of Commons. That's the basic issue. People understand slippery answers sometimes, but I think the responsibility of a minister is to stand there and answer questions as best they can. Either tell the truth and say what she clearly believes, that he wasn't doing a good job, or to find some form of words. But it is the responsibility of ministers, whether you're the Foreign Secretary, as Boris was, or whether you're a junior minister, to stand up there and take the flak, because that's how other MPs and the public know what's really going on. People have a sense of how honest ministers are being, how much they believe in what they're doing. That's how we judge people as human beings. And it is the responsibility of ministers to be there. And to be fair to Jess, I read what she said, the full part of what she said. She said, as it happened, she made herself sick, and she was genuinely
sick. She got sick, yeah. She
on that day.
Yeah, she said that whenever she pulls a sickie, she gets genuinely sick. I don't doubt that, but it does bring into sharp focus, I think, the problem with Westminster. It's full of people who are paid to hold the party line when they don't necessarily believe in it. I think what the public would like would be people in politics expressing their honest opinions. It would really improve the place, I think. And I know you do that, Graham, and it's always a pleasure to have you on the show.
It's a backbencher, to be fair.
Yeah.
You can't have 5 ministers saying 5 different things, but they have to stand up and take difficult questions.
I get that. Graham, it's great to have you on the show, as always. Thank you so much. The brilliant Graham Stringer there, Labour MP for Blackley and Middleton, and as you will have discerned, he is a Labour MP who speaks his own mind. He doesn't he doesn't care about the party line. If he doesn't believe in it, he says so. My kind of politician. Next up, we're going to have a look at Sam Fender's extraordinary hit, Rain Me In, which has become the longest reigning #1 hit parade hit at the top of the charts ever, taking over from Frankie Lane's I Believe, which was there for 18 weeks in 1953. And now Sam Fender's hit Rain Me In has gone 20 weeks. Now, I've listened to it. Oh, it's a nice song. I like Sam Fender. He sings good songs. But it's, it doesn't strike me as all that special. It's not a particularly catchy tune or anything like that. We'll try to find out why this song has been so phenomenally successful. That next, stay tuned. What's this about you approving of Andy Burnham going on a holiday?
Yes, I do. I've written an article for the I newspaper. I think you're wrong. I think Carl Turner's wrong.
Why?
Why? Because people need holidays and we want politicians
15 days? 15 days. What nonsense are you writing in the I paper?
Do you want to take it?
15, what is he, an oil rig worker? 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off? You don't think he'll come to regret this holiday? Let me tell you, he will.
I'd rather take it now than in October, and I want our politicians to be like normal people taking a holiday in the summer, but we'll get into all of that.
That's absolute rubbish.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Well, you will have heard the song Rein Me In. It's Sam Fender's song. Obviously, he's helped in this endeavour by Olivia Dean. It's broken the record for the longest period at #1 in pop history, taking over from Frankie Lane back in 1953. He was at #1 with I Believe for 18 weeks. Sam and Olivia have done 20 weeks. They've been at #1 since February, which is phenomenal. So what's so special about this song? Let's try and find out from music industry expert Nick Stewart. Welcome, Nick.
Yes, thank you very much for having me on. It is a good story, 20 weeks, as you rightly say. Rein Me In was originally included as the 8th track on Stephen Fender's 3rd studio album, People Watching.
Yeah,
the song was written.
Yeah, it was, and it was. Here's the thing, Nick. I mean, I heard that. I like Sam Fender, and it's a nice song, Rein Me In. It's not, in my view, even a particularly special song on the 3rd album. It hasn't got a kind of in-your-face catchy tune or chorus. I'm just trying to work out why do you think it's so successful? Why has it stayed at #1 for so long? What's the secret?
Well, the secret is, let me just go back a straight. I'm not going to argue with you about the fact you don't think it's terribly good, or...
That's not that. I just don't think it's particularly special. It's just, to me, when I don't get me wrong, I like it. It's a nice song. Sam Fender's really good. I'm a big fan of his. But of his songs, I wouldn't put it at the top of his personal charts. I just don't understand why this song has struck such a chord with the public.
OK, well, first of all, it's got some interesting lyrics. Secondly, it's been produced by 2 people who are huge names. I'm sure you know who Adam Gradule is. He is the lead singer of the War on Drugs. So he came on and gave it a particular sound. There's a bit of jazz. It's got a really good, basic line on this. So he then goes on stage in the London Palladium, whatever it is. He goes on with Olivia Dean, and they do a performance of this. So what happens is that she's got a big fan base, and between the 2 of them, they produce something bigger and better than his original version.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Why, actually, it's done so well.
Yeah, and I think that I can't quote you any of the lyrics, but I'm told that the lyrics are stormy, tender, and anthemic. So he's a very gifted songwriter. So I suppose the lyrics are striking a chord with people as well as the
lyrics are striking a chord. He said in the song, Fender says, "It's too afraid to be reined in by love, and instead rejects anyone who gets too close." Yeah. And I think it's unusual that you get 2 goes of it. Yeah. There aren't many #1 records that have been originally done by one artist and then brought in with a duet by another one who also has a very big score.
Well, I tell you, it's fascinating, Nick. It's absolutely fascinating, and congratulations to Sam Fender and Olivia Dean, and good to talk.
Also, congratulations to the people around it, including Adam from War on Drugs, and including the guys from Polydor, because they've done a big job. And that record first came out in well over a year ago, then get Song of the Year at the Brits, then gets this thing. It's been a long and trusted thing. The public love it, and we're not getting a lot of groups, for example, now have big hit singles. They get albums, but if you look at the chart, there are a lot of single artists like these two, like Stephen Fender, producing these songs.
Absolutely. Nick, really good to talk to you. Thank you so much. Nick Stewart, the music industry expert now on this phenomenal song, Rain Me In by Sam Fender, singing alongside Olivia Dean. #1 since February. Unbelievable. Since February, 20 weeks, the world record, longest reigning #1, top of the charts ever. If you've got any thoughts on that, do you like that song? Can you understand why it's quite so successful? As I say, I think it's quite a nice song. I don't understand why it's such a phenomenon. I don't quite get that. If you've got any ideas, let me know. 03444991000. But you're probably more likely to call in about the migrant crisis. And if you're middle class, are you looking forward to your new neighbours from Syria or Estonia? Eritrea, not Estonia. Well, you might get some neighbours from Estonia, but Eritrea or Afghanistan, because Andy Burnham is going to put them next to you. He says he's sick and tired of working class people bearing the burden of asylum seeker accommodation, and he's going to make sure that the middle class start taking a hit too. That's his plan for the migrant crisis. Not to solve it, not to stop the boats, but to keep on letting more and more and more young male chancer illegal migrants into the country, finding them somewhere to live, giving them free money, giving them free food, giving them free doctors, free dentists, free lawyers, free driving lessons, everything. He's going to carry on doing that. So they're going to carry on coming in bigger and bigger boats. I reckon 230, that huge mega dinghy we saw on Sunday, we're going to see even bigger than that. That's what the French say. They say there's no real limit to the size of these dinghies. So 230 may just be the beginning. We no longer, folks, have a small boat crisis. We have a big boat crisis. Let me know what you think. And let me know what you think about this Prime Minister and his complete lack of ambition, his shoulder-shrugging attitude, and the fact that he is assuring us that he cannot possibly solve this crisis by 2029. It's just going to have to find more and more places to put the asylum seekers, hopefully in his little class-ridden mind next to middle-class people. It's not a class issue, is it? Let me know what you think. 03444991000. Your call's next. Let's get going. See you in a minute.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. A couple of messages before we go to the phones. This is from Bogner Bob. He says, well, if Burnham is sending them to the middle classes, maybe the idiots that vote Lib Dem might at last wake up. It's a very good point. Yeah, I mean, as I keep saying, there's no doubt that working class communities do bear the majority of the brunt of asylum seeker accommodation problems, but middle classes do as well. So his idea that the middle classes are being completely spared this problem is just not true, but it fits into his class warfare, doesn't it? This is from Rachel. Hey Kev, I've recently bought a lovely home in a nice area in Wales. I've worked all my life to buy this house. I'm not unsympathetic to genuine asylum seekers, but these are not. They are asylum shoppers. Andy Burnham is an idiot. That's from Rachel. John says... he's in Kent. He says, new Labour here's a new Labour slogan. An asylum seeker in every postcard. An asylum seeker? Hundreds of asylum seekers in every postcode, the way this guy's going. Shall we go to the phones? Let's talk to Molly, another new caller. Oh, I'm having a hell of a day today, aren't I? Love new callers. This is Molly in North London. Hello, Molly. What would you like to say?
Well, hi, Kev. Great show.
Thank you
for having me on. The Prime Minister's in listening mode. Why don't you send him a couple of tapes of your show? Then he might hear that the middle classes are tired. We are tired of getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning to work, getting home at 7 o'clock at night, and then paying our taxes and still being criticised because we're not doing enough and doing it more and doing it more. And now we're being told that we've got to take in asylum seekers as well. Well, there's a whole number 10 Downing Street. Maybe just stick to one office, Mr. Prime Minister, and put some in the other office.
Yeah, shall I tell you a story, Molly? You know this thing about putting asylum seekers into middle-class areas? Well, I can mention to you Piddington in Oxfordshire, which is a village of 350 middle-class people. That is about to have a migrant camp of 1,250 young male asylum seekers imposed on it. Crowborough in East Sussex is not exactly working class. And I live in an area of London, you'll know it, you're from North London, called Hampstead. We got a hotel full of migrant asylum seekers in Hampstead. It doesn't get more middle class than Hampstead. So the Prime Minister's depiction of a country where only working class communities get burdened with asylum seekers is just not true. I think it's a disgrace that he's trying to turn this important issue into a class issue.
It is a disgrace, and moreover, it's another excuse for those of us that actually put our hands in our pockets, work hard, pay our taxes, contribute willingly to those that need our support and our help, are now being treated as if we are some kind of pariah. Because when we say enough, there won't be the money to feed and clothe and look after anybody, never mind the people that are coming on our shores in boats.
Well, it's not, in other words, Molly, it's not your fault that you're middle class. It's not my fault that I'm middle class. And I don't like being picked on by this Prime Minister who seems to think, as you suggest, that we're some kind of evil subsection of society that needs to be punished. I'm sick of this stuff, aren't you?
Well, I tell you what else I'm sick of, Kev. I'm sick of having to phone a radio station to be able to speak honestly, because you can't speak publicly, because then you'll be called, I don't know, racist.
Yeah, that's right.
You'll be called some...
Racist, Islamophobic, all of that. Yeah. And you know, I'm glad you called here, Molly, because we will listen. And people will listen who listen to the show. You'll get yourself heard in this way. But if you went and found the Prime Minister on his listening tour of Britain and you confronted him with the small boat or the big boat crisis, as we now call it, he won't be listening to that. He's got other things he wants to talk to you about, like what he likes for breakfast.
Tell the Prime Minister that he can save himself some shoe leather and some petrol and just listen to the viewers and the listeners of your show and all your colleagues all day. Listen to them. He can do that from his office, maybe multitask like the rest of us do, without having to travel up and down the country. Put the radio on, get down to your desk, mate, and do your job like the rest of us do, and listen from there. You might hear something worth hearing.
Yeah, you might hear what we're really concerned about, as opposed to what you want us to be concerned about. Nobody cares about buses and nobody cares about devolution. Molly, great call. Please call me again, seriously. That's Molly, new caller in North London. She was good, wasn't she? Let's talk to, not a new caller, because I recognise her very well. It's Elizabeth from Chorley. Hello, Elizabeth.
Hi. I'm just going to a thumbs up to Molly.
Yeah. I mean, you know, so Molly's like me. Molly's a middle class. Molly's a middle class person. I am. I can't help it. I don't like being classified as some kind of evil subsection of society that needs to be punished by this class warrior prime minister.
I live in a village. It's a nice place. It's being overrun currently.
Have you got migrants in your village then?
Have we got migrants?
Yeah.
Yes.
Blimey.
And we don't want them. Now the fact is, we don't want them because they're alien to our village.
What sort of village is your village, Elizabeth? Is it a working?
It's a village of about 7,000 people.
Is it a working class village?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Okay.
And there are most. I love living in this village. I love it. I came from a village further down the road.
Yeah.
Nearer to Blackburn on the moors. I was brought up there.
Okay.
Lovely.
How many migrants have you got? How many asylum seekers have you got? And how have they changed life in your village?
They've changed life by people being very wary about the girls and the women. It's changed life because the police.
Yeah.
How can I say this diplomatically? They come out and they say there's nothing to see here.
Nothing to see. Yeah.
And you can't speak out because you're classed as
a racist.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'll tell you what, Elizabeth, we're trapped here. We're trapped in a woke hamster wheel.
What Andy Burnham is, why does he have to do a tour of the United Kingdom to find out about the...
He doesn't, Elizabeth. It's just a publicity stunt. It is a series of photo ops. That's all it is. He should be behind his desk, knee-deep in documents that he should be consuming in order to try to sort out the very real crises that are engulfing this country. Instead, he's flipping around the country saying, oh, I'm in listening mode. Well, listen to this. Do your job properly. Get off the train. Get back to number 10 Downing Street and stop the damn boats. How about that? Elizabeth, listen, thank you very much for calling. Thank you. Call me again, I know you will. That's good to talk to Elizabeth in Chorley. I think we've got time for another call before we go to break. Let's talk to Jackie in London. Hi, Jackie.
Hi, Kevin. Nice to talk to you again. My theory on this class thing...
Yeah, the middle class thing,
yeah. Well, first of all, let's hope James O'Brien gets a few next door to him. I think Andy Burnham is getting forced into holding a general election with the budget that's coming up, with what he wants to do with the care system and everything. And he wants civil unrest in this country. I think the whole establishment want this to happen because while there's civil unrest, they can't be in a general election if that's right. I think I'm right saying that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's word he might go for a general election, maybe in November. But if he does, we'll still be the victims of a giant con. Because what he will have done, right? He waltzed into number 10 Downing Street unaffected by any hints of democracy. You know, he got 25,000 votes or something up in Makerfield, waltzed into Downing Street as the Prime Minister, starts to announce all these, you know, free jam tomorrow policies. You know, I'm going to cut your bus fares, I'm going to cut your energy bills, you know, I'm going to, cut hospitality taxes, I'm going to be nice, all of that. Now, before, if he calls an election, say October, November, it'll be before the nation quite realises that he can't afford any of these policies. So if he wins that election, it'll be a giant con. So that will not restore our faith in democracy. Our faith in democracy right now is non-existent, thanks to what's amounted to, Jackie, a kind of coup d'etat by a communist. He's a commie, and he's taken the country over by stealth. It is a massive problem. Jackie, always good to talk to you. Got to go to break now, though. Thank you. Jackie in London, let's go to break. When we come back, more of your calls, more of your messages, and Peter Cardwell will be in fairly soon to let you know what he's got lined up for you from 7 p.m. until 10 p.m. So all of that still to come. Stay where you are. What's this about you approving of Andy Burnham going on a holiday?
Yes, I do. I've written an article for the newspaper. I think you're wrong. I think Carl Turner's wrong.
Why?
Why? Because people need holidays and we want politicians
15 days? 15 days? What nonsense are you writing in the iPaper?
Do you want to take it?
15, what is he, an oil rig worker? 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off? You don't think he'll come to regret this holiday? Let me tell you, he will.
I'd rather take it now than in October, and I want our politicians to be like normal people taking a holiday in the summer, but we'll get into all of that.
That's absolute rubbish.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Let's go back to the phones first, though. Here's a message from Zarina. Just an idea. Now that number 10 North is happening, why don't we turn Westminster or Downing Street into migrant accommodation? What a great idea. I mean, you know, they're pretty middle class in Westminster, aren't they? Give them a migrant centre, an accommodation centre for asylum seekers. Why not? Good idea, Zarina. This is from Mystic Mags. She says, here we go again, the usual waffle and the usual word salad from Andy. I predict that this boat crisis will be your downfall, she says to Prime Minister Burnham. Remember, Kev, he said Labour have to get things right. Well, start with finding a deterrent. That might be a good idea. That's from Mystic Mags. Yeah, absolutely right. You know, he seeks he yearns for, he lusts for popularity. Hopes he's going to get voted back in at the next election. He won't unless he solves the migrant crisis. Stop the boats and you'll sail through it in the next election, Andy. It's there. It's an open goal. Except you don't want to take it, do you? Dear, because you might be seen as racist or something like that. It's pathetic, isn't it? Let's go back to the phones, and I have yet another new caller. It really is my day. Love new callers, I really do. So this is Lynn from Southend-on-Sea. Hello, Lynn.
Hi, Kevin. Thrilled to speak to you. I watch you a lot on telly. Oh, sorry. I'm not supposed to advertise anything, am I?
No, that's all right. You know, you can advertise me as much as you like, Lynn. You want to talk about the boats? What would you like to say?
Yeah. What it is, when I speak to friends, particularly those in the Navy, they say to me that it's very easy for them to stop. Of course, they've got technology to stop ships coming in. How do you think they sort out wars and things?
Yeah, they could. They could. Of course, they could. Of course, they could. If this government and this prime minister had the resolve and had the will to solve this crisis, to stop the boats, they could. They could turn the boats round, take them back to France, but they won't do it, Lynn, because they don't believe in. They actually don't want to stop it, in my view.
Exactly, and it seems to be a consensus with European countries. And the other thing that is quite interesting is that they all seem to be of military age.
Yeah, well, you know what? Yeah, of course they are. They're all between the age of about 16 and 34. They are young male economic chancers. They're not escaping war and torture, Lynn.
No, I think they are here.
They're chancers. They're chancers.
Future wars.
Yeah, they're chancers. They're chancers.
I think this is why we're accepting them. I think they'll be used just as the North Koreans are used by the Russians.
I don't think that's going to happen, Lynn. I think we're accepting them because we have useless governments. Useless. We had 14 years of useless Tory governments. Now we're on about our third year of a useless Labour government who don't know what to do about this. There's no plan. There's no game plan. There's no master plan. Just a bunch of incompetent idiots in Westminster who have no idea what to do about this crisis. So Andy Burnham talks about bus fares and what he had for breakfast. It's depressing, Lynn. Listen, that was a great call. Call me again. We'll get you on. Really good to talk to you. Thank you so much. Lynn in Southend-on-Sea, another first-time caller. Let's go to Jill in Yorkshire. Hi, Jill. What would you like to say?
Hi, Kevin. I just wanted to say I'm absolutely seething listening to the Messiah prancing around the country, telling us he's listening. I live in a village called Linton-on-Ouse in North Yorkshire.
Right.
700 of us. They're trying to put up to 1,500 asylum seekers in the village. We have no shop.
1,500 into 700 of you in the village?
Around about approximately 700.
Where are they going to put the 1,500?
We've got a defunct RAF camp right in the centre of the village.
Oh, my God. I mean, Jill, I don't want to be depressing, but is that actually going to happen?
Well,
you're campaigning to stop it, because if it happens, I don't want to be depressing to you, but that will effectively destroy your village.
Of course. Yeah, of course it will. Yeah, we know that.
This is unbelievable.
It's 2 minutes from a play park, 5 minutes from the local primary school.
Doing?
We have no shop. We don't even have a shop in the village.
And what's your village called again?
It's called Linton-on-Ouse.
Linton-on-Ouse, and you've got a disused RAF base just up the road,
The RAF have been out probably about 5 years now, so all the buildings are crumbling. There's no sewage water supply, so what they're talking about is putting pods in on the runway, I think, and all around. It's going to cost millions.
It's going to cost millions, but you know, they don't. I bet you they haven't consulted you. I bet they haven't asked you, haven't talked to you. They never do. They never do. They just impose these massive camps, these houses of multiple occupation, these hotels on unsuspecting communities like you, and effectively ruin them. It's a national disaster. It's a disgrace, Jill. It really is.
Thing is that Priti Patel tried to come under the camp when the Tories were in power, and it was deemed as not fit. Yeah. And the fight that the village put up, I think, as well. We got the local council.
Yeah. Well, I've got some copy on it. We just looked it up here. Let me read it out to you. An RAF station, an ex-RAF station in North Yorkshire is, in quotes, simply the wrong place to house more than 1,000 asylum seekers. And that's what your local elected Labour mayor has said. Earlier this week, Home Office Minister Alex Norris told Parliament the government was seriously looking at using former RAF Linton-on-Ouse near York as an asylum centre, but the York and North Yorkshire Labour Mayor David Skaith has said the site, which shut in 2020, should instead be used for a housing-led redevelopment. So you're trapped in your own ongoing asylum seeker drama there, Jill. Well, I hope you prevail, but this is what's happening all over the country. I call this the battle for Britain. If we don't save villages like yours from this invasion of illegal foreigners, this country is going to go to hell in a handcart. It's so worrying. Jill, listen, keep in touch, but all the best, and thank you for an excellent call. Jill in Yorkshire, there you go. Just call, just off the bat. Oh, yeah, our village, 700 people. We're going to get 1,500 asylum seekers in the middle of us. You can't do that. It's going to ruin that village, just like Piddington in Oxfordshire. Unbelievable. Let's quickly talk to Danny in London. Hi, Danny.
Good morning. Morning.
Morning. Just wishing your life away. What would you like to say, Danny?
When I heard Burnham talking his speech this afternoon, we're going to be relentless. What he's actually saying is everything's going to go on as usual. It's just another excuse, and I haven't got a clue what to do.
Well, quite. He hasn't got a clue. What do you make of this plan? His only sort of significant comment on the migrant crisis is he's going to try and make sure in future that asylum seekers get dumped on middle-class communities as opposed to working-class communities. A, it's not a class issue, and B, that doesn't begin to address the problem, does it?
But I think he's diverting it. He wants us to argue over this fact rather than the fact that he can't stop them coming over. But can I ask you a question? Why do they want them? Why?
What, these migrants? Well, I don't think they particularly necessarily want them. I think these wide-eyed, gullible idiots in the Labour Party actually still do kind of believe that these are terrified souls fleeing from war and torture. They're obviously not. But also, this Labour government, this cabinet, Andy Burnham,